All right, we got to talk about Raw, this wretched, fucking, dismal, awful, horrible fucking show.
Wow.
I hated every last single bit of it.
Don't hold back. How do you feel?
God damn it.
I think it's that bad.
Do you know, there's a line by Vince McMahon that was the only good thing on the show?
Is it this first promo?
Yep. Where he said,
Go ahead.
He said, and I quote, and I felt this way watching the show, I was reduced to a quivering mass of apoplexy.
Yeah.
I couldn't even say it. He got it out.
He did.
That's why he's the best.
That's why he's Vince McMahon.
I was reduced to a quivering mass of apoplexy. I'm stealing that one. I don't know when or where I'm going to use it.
It'll be hard to work that in.
I don't even know what that is.
So, yes, the corporation comes out.
Watch this show every week.
Just kidding.
Vince says the moment he had shown weakness last week had been placed in the Museum of Television and Radio History. Talked about his capacity to love. Said he had a surprise for Taker this week. Then he addressed Kane.
He just fucking talked forever. And I like Vince.
This did go 15 minutes.
Oh my God. Spit it out, dude.
Kane, you lied last week when you said Taker would burn in hell.
He doesn't talk.
So
Yeah, he does. He has the gimmick.
Didn't use it last
said,
week.
I believe Kane was the first guy to hear "you're fired" from Vince.
I believe so, yeah.
Vince. I was going to say, well, does that mean Kane's going back to the loony bin? But then, in fact, they brought out the guys in the white coats.
The orderlies.
Yes. So Kane goes to fight them when China shows up and fights by his side. They kill all the orderlies, and then China speaks on Kane's behalf. Says Kane can be an asset. I can control him. I will be responsible for Kane and take accountability for his actions. Give us Kane versus Steve Austin tonight. And Vince says, okay, you can fight Austin, but if you lose, you and China will both be fired.
Well, she wanted a match where he would face Austin, and if he beat him, he was in the corporation, and if he lost, fine.
Mm-hmm.
And Vince added the stipulation, well, if he loses, you're both fired.
Okay.
Right.
So
Mankind comes out.
He wants to be a ref.
Can't end.
He wants to be a ref tonight. Vince says, hey, I got an idea. Nobody has beaten Undertaker more than you. So if you can beat Taker tonight, then you can be the ref of the main event. Mankind agrees. The lights go out. Taker's music plays. His disembodied voice threatens Vince and cackles.
Okay, listen, I don't want to spoil the main event here, all right? So I won't, but I will just say, as you listen to this show, this waste of my life 15-minute segment right here was building up a fucking main event with a very important stipulation.
That's right.
If Kane beats Steve Austin, he's in the corporation. If he loses, they're both fired.
That's
Kane
right.
and China. We got that?
Absolutely.
15 minutes of my fucking life setting this match up.
Mm-hmm.
Austin arrived at the building during the break, and Earl Hebner let him know he was wrestling Kane. Austin says, I'm going to Mania anyway. I don't care who I'm wrestling. Ken Shamrock versus Val Venus versus Goldust. So
I hate this show. When that fucking Goldust came out with the blue meanie,
Yeah.
and that was just the beginning on this show, by the way. Let's take two people that are feuding. They'll fight each other. They'll even have a match together. And then they'll just be friends.
Sure.
Because you don't expect it. Well, why didn't you expect it? Because it's fucking stupid.
Because it makes no sense.
That's one of them on here.
So Billy Gunn was supposed to be in this match, but he has fallen ill. He had Billy Gunn and the doctor backstage. The doctor says Billy has fluid in his lungs, on the verge of pneumonia, and also said that he had like an asthmatic shock, I think.
He may have an asthma attack.
Asthma attack.
Yeah.
He can't compete tonight.
He had the same thing that Kurt had last night in a row.
Oh, how about that? Billy is not happy to hear about any of this.
Yeah, he goes, I've wrestled with a broken arm and a broken neck. Now I can't wrestle with a cold.
Yeah.
When did fucking Billy Gunn break his neck?
Oh, I remember. It was the Smoking Guns Explode match. Billy got hurt.
I don't know if that was real. I thought that was bullshit.
Possible. Well,
I guess one way or the other, that was a storyline.
It would make sense. Yeah. Billy got hurt wrestling Bart. He disappeared, and he came back huge.
Yeah, that was a.
So they're doing this match here. Shamrock, Goldust, and Val.
And by the way, he didn't wrestle with a broken neck because he disappeared. It was gone forever.
I guess that's true. That's true. Okay.
Yeah, this is bullshit.
Regardless, they're doing this match.
I don't like bullshit in wrestling.
What?
Well, I figured out why you didn't like this show. So Goldust kisses Ryan to piss off Ken. Ken is so pissed, he still DDTs Val, then goes after Goldust. Blue Meanie stepped up. He stepped up to Ken Shamrock to defend Goldust.
Hey, listen.
I laughed. I laughed.
Gonna be a lackey, You know your role.
He knew his goddamn role. He was bad at it.
Hey, it doesn't matter.
Goldust's body was not guarded.
No. Well, it was momentarily.
I guess. So Meanie goes down. Ken chases Goldust through the crowd. The bell rings, and Val Venus is announced the winner via count out.
Yeah, cool match there, bro.
Then Billy Gunn runs out, lays out Val. As Michael Cole says, he couldn't compete tonight because of asthma.
And he ran down to the ring. That's not good for asthma here.
Well, maybe you got an inhaler.
Can I say something about the next segment?
That's what we're here for.
Oh, God. Fuck this.
Jim Ross is coming out for a interview. He's back from Bell palsy. On his face, you can see his face is slidden on one side, and he just lost his mother.
Mm-hmm.
Looking at this man, I felt nothing but sorrow and hurt for him. I felt so bad for Jim coming out here, and they turned him heel.
Yeah.
Huh?
It ain't even that they turned him heel. First off, before the commercial, they show him from the back talking to two guys, and they go, Jim Ross is back tonight. Mm-hmm. I was certain it was some bullshit.
Yes.
And then he actually came out. That was a swerve. Guy comes down to the ring. He randomly announces that Bart Gunn is facing Butterbean at WrestleMania. Calls him down to the ring. Starts asking him some questions, and he immediately, they don't even give this 2 seconds. He starts screaming at Bart, why won't you look at me in the face? Then he unleashes. They literally could not go one show without turning his Bell's palsy and the death of his mother into an angle. Maybe this was JR's idea, I don't know. But this did not sit well with me.
No.
I will say, he was a fucking great heel. I will give him that. He was a great heel. This was all a setup to bring back Dr. Death, who unfortunately was not in his mask.
Yeah.
That disappointed me greatly. He goes in there and he fucking kills Bart Gunn with a high-angle German, drops him right on his head. Then he gives him another high-angle suplex, drops him right on his head. JR screaming at him to stomp his ass. And then they left together.
The second suplex was actually his Japanese finisher, the backdrop driver.
Yes.
It looked much, much, much safer than the German.
Yes.
Thing to me is like, it's just like the Roman Reigns promo on Raw that Vinny didn't watch.
That was great.
Roman Reigns is out there and he's talking about something that has to do with real life. There are guys in the locker room that don't like Brock. They don't like his deal. They don't like that he has his own dressing room. He doesn't feel like he's one of the boys, blah, blah, blah. Roman cut a promo for all those guys. It was great, okay? I like when you take some reality, as long as it makes sense in storyline. If it doesn't make sense in storyline, it's bullshit, as we'll see throughout the 90s in WWE. But if you have something that's rooted in reality and works into the storyline, that's awesome. However, it's the same thing when they do these angles with, like, terrorists. They do with Muhammad Hassan, and like when people watch wrestling, they don't want to deal with this shit, right?
Yeah.
Like,
It's supposed to be fun.
Yeah, you can do some stuff that kind of plays into current events and that sort of thing, but nobody wants to watch a fucking show where Jim Ross is out there and they're making fun of his Bell's palsy and his mom just died and they're bringing all... This is not comfortable for me as a fan. It's not fun.
Right.
Especially on this fucking show. Yeah. But in general, it's just not a fun time. I don't know why they continue to do it. It never works. Can anyone think of one example where something like this really worked? I can't think of one.
So yeah, the bottom line of all this is Jim Ross lost his mom, had a Bell's palsy attack, and then lost his job all in a row, and we're supposed to be mad at him.
Yeah. It's ridiculous.
I wrote a lot down about it. Owen Hart, Jeff Jarrett, and Deborah come out for a promo.
Okay, may I?
Yes, you may.
It's your show.
Jarrett comes out. He cuts a promo about the lack of competition in the tag team division.
He did.
Deborah's out there in a robe. She says if anyone can beat my boys tonight, I'm going to take this robe off.
Yeah.
So out comes Triple H and X-Pac. That's a big name team. They get the heat on Hunter. X-Pac gets the hot tag. Jared, by the way, this is an aside. This is just a personal pet peeve. He has now broken out the spot where he leaps in the air for a Frankensteiner and gets caught and powerbombed.
Even
He
though
did this for fucking years.
he never actually hits the Frankensteiner.
If anyone can find me one match where Jeff Jarrett hits that fucking Frankensteiner ever in history, like, I'll send you $5. I don't think he ever in his life did a Frankensteiner. But in every fucking match he goes for it and he gets powerbombed. So, Deborah tries to distract X-Pac. He gives her a crotch chop. Let me just repeat this, okay? She tries to distract X-Pac. Mm-hmm. He motions to his genitals. What a dick.
Maybe that's what he was saying.
Yeah.
The ref is distracted by Deborah. For some fucking reason, he then starts fucking molesting her. He is hugging her. He has 2 hands full of her ass squeezing.
She grabbed his hands and
Yes.
put them on her ass.
No.
That's what
Maybe
happened.
she began to lower them, but then she let go and he was just going to town.
Well,
Anyway,
sounds like an invite to me.
she gets bumped off the apron. X-Pac, who moments ago had gestured to his genitals, now is like, oh my God, she fell off the apron. I must go see if she's okay. He goes outside to see if she's okay. Shane McMahon shows up. I threw up. He throws X-Pac into the steps. Then Ivory's coming down the ring. Who? What? What the fuck's going on? Then, as she's coming down to the ring, it is Owen Hart and Jeff Jarrett stomping on Triple H in the ring. Mm-hmm. Well, Hunter's not going to do a job. Ring the fucking bell.
That's what happened. I'm pretty sure you got a lot of it.
He rang the bell to avoid Triple H having to do a job. Then there's more. D'Lo comes out afterwards. He attacks Owen Hart. Ivory rips off Deborah's robe. She's in a thong. Mm-hmm. Jeff Jarrett runs up, tries to cover her ass with the belt. They drag her to the back. And then later, like right afterwards, Deborah challenges Ivory to a match tonight. How many fucking things happen in this segment here?
Lots.
Like
I wrote them all down
1,000.
in one sentence.
This fucking sucked, okay? You know what it takes to have a segment where Deborah Marshall is in her thong and it fucking sucks? That should tell you
this.
everything you need to know about this segment. This was the worst of professional wrestling in the 90s. It was horrible.
You're not wrong.
Not one redeeming quality. Maybe one.
So, I just want to add some details you glossed over.
That's impossible.
Jarrett in his promo about how there's no competition, he says, "We have beaten every team, every tag team in the WWF. We beat the New Age Outlaws, and we beat Mark Henry and D'Lo Brown." He's done. I really wanted to get that in there. Yes, the 700,000 things happened. I did write them all down in one sentence. And as I noted, the finish was the ref disqualified somebody for something. So, yeah, Deborah did a challenge for Ivory later. Luna and Tori come out for a promo.
Ah! It's died a death.
Luna says she's standing up for Tori. She's standing up for herself and the fans Sable used to get where she was. She wants to bring Sable back down to earth. They show Sable's Playboy cover. The word sex appeared 3 times in this cover.
No.
Yes. So Sable comes out. Tori attacks Luna from behind.
Oh, excuse me, Tori jumped Luna?
Yeah.
Yes. That happened.
And now Tori and Sable are friends after Sable laid out Tori with a belt shot last week.
May I quote Jerry Lawler? I'm lost here. I don't get it.
That's what he said.
I just lean back. Yeah. They put the
I
boost
learned
to
my
Luna,
lesson.
and Sable powerbombed her, and that was that. Rock versus Road Dogg.
This was quite
What the fuck? Okay, for those of you not keeping track, Road Dogg was like the hardcore champion. Mm-hmm. He lost the belt. Mm-hmm. He vanished, went into rehab. Mm. He returns for a WWF championship match with The Rock? What? That was a title match.
Yeah.
He also fresh out of rehab, walks down to the ring and says, I see that 420 sign, brother.
What's the gimmick now?
I guess.
So, yeah. Paul White was out there, but didn't do much. He did one headbutt. It was a fun match while it lasted, which was 3 minutes, and then Rock hit the rock bottom and the corporate elbow and won.
Road Dogg did not win the WWE title.
No.
His first match back here. I couldn't believe it.
Al Snow comes out. He wants to continue.
He almost made the Mania main event.
I suppose he might have. It would have been Stone Cold Steve Austin versus Road Dogg.
Dude, that would have turned the war around.
That would have been...
Again.
That would have been something. So Al Snow comes out. He says 700,000 words that all coming out to, I want to fight you more.
He is upset about doing the JOB to BOB at the PPV. Ha 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 ha.
Oh, Bob.
So funny. Road Dogg kills his fucker
Job
with a
Squad
chair
gimmick.
shot.
Yeah, well, Al comes out to fight and gets his ass kicked. What a geek. Hardcore Holly comes out. He gets his ass kicked. What a geek. And Dog says, you're both pussies. I'll fight you in the parking lot.
Oh, fuck.
Go to commercial. We come back. Road Dogg is ranting alone in the parking lot. Public Enemy. Public Enemy come out dressed as the Brood. They say, we can also dress up like it's Halloween. They tear off the costumes. They say, not. The lights go out. The Brood...
In real life, they went to all that trouble for that joke.
Yeah.
Dude, just fuck off. So fucking terrible. Lights go out. Flyboy, they're calling him.
Yeah, he's not
He ain't
Rock
Rocco
anymore.
Rocky's Flyboy. He's gone.
Mm-hmm.
Johnny runs backstage.
They
That
found
was a
him.
big risk.
They found him later.
They did.
Yeah, they did.
No, but go ahead, Vinny.
No. Road Dogg and Bob Holly are fighting in the parking lot.
Ah.
Come on, Bob!
Oh, dude. And then let me go on, Vinny. I hate to cut you off. They cut from Flyboy vanishing
Yes.
to this fucking bullshit in the parking lot with Road Dogg and Hardcore. They go back to the goddamn ring. Steve Blackman and Draws are standing there with sticks.
Yes.
They explain they're having a kendo stick match.
The first ever kendo stick match. In fact, Brian, the bell to begin the match rang while the brawl was still going on backstage.
Yes!
We joined the first ever kendo stick
that's
match
my point.
in progress.
You know that day that you took a walk?
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't go quite that far, but I did leave the room. And I just took some time off. I was done with this fucking show. I just kind of chilled out for a while. I came back. I can alert you all, it still sucked, okay? They're having a match. They're hitting each other with fucking sticks. And suddenly they go to the announcers and they explain the first person to knock their opponent off of their feet is the winner.
Yeah.
That's how you win a kendo stick match? Is this fucking sumo?
I guess.
It's not even sumo. So, I swear to God, this is the finish of this goddamn kendo stick match with Steve Blackman and Draws. Steve Blackman hasn't won, but the ref was down. Draws then hit Blackman. The ref woke up, and we got a fucking screw job in a kendo stick match.
You'll be happy to hear, Brian. At this point, I wrote the words utter shite in all caps.
I hate this show. I hate this show.
I didn't hate it nearly as much as you did, but I'm having trouble mounting an argument as to why.
And then, as soon as this shit's over, it's just back in the parking lot.
Actually, this is important because we talked about how the brawl started and then we had a kendo stick joint in progress. We didn't mention that in the middle of the parking lot brawl, they went to commercial and came back and the brawl was still going on, and then they went to the kendo stick match. Then they go to commercial, they come back, the parking lot brawl is still going on. And now Al is there.
You want to know how bad this match was in this show? It was so bad that the one thing that will always save a show, going on a field trip,
Going out of the building.
Club Lavella, getting thrown in the water, whatever, these numbskulls brawled out of the building into traffic.
Yeah.
There's cars driving down the freeway. They're fucking brawling in the middle of the road. Cars are zooming around them. Okay, on any other show, this would have been stupid, but awesome. On this show, I was like, will you fuckers get out of the road, and can we move on now? Finish this shit.
Now, here's what you both missed. when they were brawling inside the parking structure. There's a wide camera shot, and you can see Flyboy Rocco Rock casually walking to his spot, and he sees the camera, and he dives behind a bunch of boxes. I laughed.
I did miss that.
Oh my god!
And I would go back and watch it, but I don't want to watch all 20 minutes of that parking lot fight again.
I will not go back and watch it.
Oh my god! I was crying.
Somebody get the animated GIF. That makes life. That's the one good thing about 2018 and social media. Animated GIFs.
Via hype video, we had the debut of the Mean Street Posse.
Okay, there was one good thing on this show.
Yes, it
And
was.
this was it.
Pete Gas?
No, all of it.
Okay.
This was so awesome.
They're talking about how everyone always talks about how tough poor people are. They have no idea how tough us rich people are. We have better training, better gyms. Got to work harder to prove ourselves. It's all great.
Those poor people fight because they have to.
Yeah.
We fight because we want to.
That's right. And they always note Shane's the toughest one of them all. And there's a line in there where they say, I don't care where you're from, Shane's as tough as any scumbag or Julio you'll find.
Yeah.
Well, you kind of rolled that one off the tongue, didn't you?
Ay.
I mean, they're supposed to be the spoiled rich white guys.
Sure.
Can you be a little more subtle about it?
No.
So we all found Flyboy.
Yeah. He's been crucified, but you can't say that.
He's hanging by his wrists from chains from a shelf. He's all covered in blood, much like, you know. And,
Where was he going
I was
there?
going to say, Jesus on the cross is
He's gonna
I know that, you jackass.
compare Rocco Rock to the Lord.
Well,
and Savior.
I stopped myself, so I realized how stupid it sounded.
But that's what it was.
Well, that's what it was.
Flyboy Rocco Rock was playing the role of Jesus Christ here on this Raw.
Well, that does suck. When you put it that way.
Greg, I'm not making this up.
Vince, please move on.
The main event is Mankind versus Undertaker. Vince
Was there a show 3 days later?
Wait, is this the main event?
Could make his return.
This is not the main event. This is a match. Oh, I see.
Yeah, this is just a fucking match.
Vince comes out to do commentary for this, and at the commentary desk, casually announces Undertaker will face Big Boss Man in a Hell in a Cell match at WrestleMania.
Just out of nowhere. Why not?
My favorite thing about this match,
So, excuse me, they announced that before they did the angle here? Okay, just checking.
yes, they did.
What a bad show.
Not good.
It's almost like it sucks.
There's a sign in the crowd reading "Play Fantasy Wrestling," and then instead of a website, it had an 800 number. That was funnier than the everyone's got a cell phone line on Nitro. So they're brawling everywhere. The bell
rang.
Here's what I wrote. The bell rang at a random point, and Taker turned and punched Vince.
Yeah. I don't know what happened.
He teased a chokeslam through the announce desk. Boss Man zooms in, attacks Taker with a nightstick. The Ministry arrives to make the save. Taker is pissed. He chokeslams Mankind.
The show is so bad.
Yeah, they're not done yet.
Oh, Deborah and Ivory.
Yeah, there's more.
I forgot they announced this match. They had to deliver it.
So Deborah's going to fight Ivory. They cut to the crowd. There's a woman who has unbuttoned her shirt to reveal her bra, and a guy is reaching around her, groping her, smiling into the camera. Attitude Era, everyone.
1999.
Attitude Era. The bell rings. They have a cat fight. PMS's music immediately hits.
Oh,
Out comes Jacqueline. She attacks Ivory for the DQ in 10 seconds.
yeah, 10 seconds. Gives her a pile driver. D'Lo makes the save. Show's awful.
Kane versus Steve Austin.
Finally, like, Steve Austin's like Bret Hart. It does not matter what bullshit there is on the show. It doesn't matter what's going on, angles, stupid storylines. He's going to go out there and he's going to have a goddamn good wrestling match. That's it. Now, it was with Kane. I apologize to Filthy. It wasn't that good. But it was one of the best things on the show.
Yes.
Until the end.
Well, there are spots throughout here where China at one point just elbows Austin right in the face,
Yeah.
and he starts to go after her, but Kane cuts him off. So China keeps interfering, and Austin's not going to back away from hitting her, but he managed to avoid having him actually do it.
Yes.
She ducks and ducks out of the ring or whatever. So the ref gets bumped. Austin hits the stunner where there's no ref. China's involved. Paul White is out there. Match keeps going. Paul White tries to slip a chair into. He does slip a chair into the ring. Austin gets it. Hits Kane with it twice. That's not a DQ.
The ref, here's the thing. First off, he's supposed to slide it in, but he slides it right into Steve Austin. You got one spot, dude. Aim for the other guy. Austin gets it. He hits Kane with a chair twice right in front of the referee. I asked Rob, is this a no DQ match?
Nope.
He's baffled. And then the announcers, Lawler and Cole, not just one, are talking about possible disqualifications. That means that this is not a no-holds-barred, no DQ match.
So they're bending the rules with these chair shots.
Chyna comes back into the ring. She gives Steve Austin a low blow.
And a third party hits a legal combatant in the testicles.
Not a disqualification.
No.
Then Paul White decides, fuck it, I'm going to get in the ring. Clearly, there's no rules here.
Why not?
This guy gets in the ring, accidentally kicks Kane. Steve Austin exits the ring, and they play his music.
And the show ends.
There's no bell. There's no announcement. 2 hours after they build up the storyline that if Austin wins, Kane and Chyna are fired. But if Kane wins, oh, he's back in the corporation. Whatever the fuck! There's no finish.
Yeah. That was the end of Raw. That's how Raw went off the air.
How did they win?
It's amazing.
I realize Nitro's going to get a lot worse here in a while. But man, these two shows tonight, the quality, Nitro obliterated Raw. Obliterated.
It's true.
Well,
the show.
It's shows like this that inspired me to create the Finisher Report.
Oh, here we go.
And as boring as it was on Nitro, this is a humdinger. The finishes on this show were count out in a triple threat match, DQ for no apparent reason in a tag match, clean pin by the world champion, fuck finish in the first ever kendo stick match that was joined in progress and went less than a minute, DQ or count out or something, I don't know, DQ in 10 seconds, non-finish in the main event after several should have been DQs.
It's astounding.
Yeah, that was awful.
That was one of the worst Raws I've ever seen in my entire life. That was mind-blowingly bad.
Raw 302, March 8th, 1999. Rock comes out, cuts a promo on Paul
What the
White.
fuck was his shirt?
Which one?
Was I the only one that knows Rock's shirt?
I
God,
thought
it was ridiculous.
Paul White's out there in like a giant red baseball jersey.
Well, he's weird. This is the goddamn Rock. Just a weird button-up shirt with a funky pattern on
Weren't
it.
all his shirts just ridiculously ugly?
I guess so,
Did
yeah.
you just say they were $600?
This was not ridiculous enough to be ridiculous. It was just like mildly ridiculous. Like you thought it was a good idea.
All right.
You know what I mean?
So on Heat, The Rock had sent Paul White up the ramp to make sure Steve Austin didn't attack him, but then Austin came through the crowd to lay Rock out anyway. So Rock, of course, is blaming Paul White for this, saying it's all part of a conspiracy. Vince comes out, tells Rock, don't air the dirty laundry in public. This is all the fans' fault. And they go back and forth for a while. Out comes Paul White. He says, Rock, you're the one who told me to go up the ramp in the first place. And if you keep messing with me, I'm going to take the bull by the horns and shove those horns up your ass. Mankind comes out. He says, I am officially the second guest ref at Mania. Do you remember we were watching those old NWA shows and the Mod Squad would come out and brag about being the number 9 seed?
Yeah.
This is kind of the same thing.
Sure.
Before we go any further, Vinny, we got to do some role play here. So you're going to be The Rock.
As we would expect, yes.
Sure.
And unfortunately, I'm going to be Michael Cole.
Okay.
So I'm going to give you your line. You're going to say, so Rock says he wants to believe Vince McMahon when Vince says that Paul White is on their side.
Yes.
Rock says, I want to believe it, but there's just too much evidence that he's out to get me. So you're going to say, the only card he's carrying is the one that shows he's a Rudy Poo candy ass. And then I'll play Michael Cole.
If I actually try this, like put effort into this impression, it would be a disaster.
Don't.
So I will
Please do
I
it.
will zero ass it.
Please
Yeah.
do the eyebrow.
I can't do the eyebrow.
Okay.
The only card he's carrying, Vince, is the card that says he is a Rudy Poo candy ass.
Wow!
He's waiting all day to do that. Yes, Brian. Michael Cole sucks.
Why did he do that?
He's Michael Cole.
I was so furious. Like, can't you just shut the fuck up?
Mm-hmm.
God damn it.
Yes, Bryan. He's a dirt terrible announcer.
Jiminy fucking Christmas.
He was replaced on the show by the Red Rooster and was 100,000 times improvement.
Right.
Not to mention that Jim Ross angle that I hated last week. I loved it this week. It was
It's
awesome.
much better. So, Mankind's the second ref. Vince says, not yet. He says to Mankind, I think your brain has been scrambled by chair shots. Undoubtedly true. He says Mankind has one more job to do, and that is to wrestle Steve Austin tonight. Now, later, it sounded like they were saying he had to beat Steve Austin. Here, he just said he had to wrestle Austin.
Yeah, they never said that.
So,
Well, based on the main event, he had to beat him,
so
as we found out.
the ref in that match would be Paul White. Austin comes out and says exactly what was on my mind. All this talk about who's reffing what is bullshit. No one cares. I'm going to WrestleMania no matter what, and he leaves and the segment ends.
Yeah.
It was like he came up with a big hook and just dragged everyone backstage.
You know what he is? He's like Bret Hart when I was talking about him last week, where it doesn't matter what's going on Nitro. Bret Hart is going to go out there and he's going to have a Calgary match with his opponent. That's it. Steve Austin is here. He's the number one contender for the championship of the world in pro wrestling. It does not matter what other bullshit is going on in this show. He's going to come out here, take his bullshit seriously, and that's it. And that's what he did here.
I think Brian's got a little crush on Bret Hart this week.
And in the main event. This week,
For 20 years.
Jesus Christ, longer than that.
25 years.
Holy fuck. You ever watch me wrestle?
No.
I wrestled you.
Oh, yeah. Yes, I watched you wrestle.
Austin is backstage telling Mankind, I don't care who the ref at Mania is, I'm going to beat your ass tonight. And Mankind was trying to get him to play nice, and it didn't work.
No.
D'Lo Brown versus Owen Hart in a Steel City street fight.
We also had Undertaker sending his goons to take out some random job.
Sorry, I missed that. Yeah, they went to the geek locker room and beat up the geeks.
He's looking for the big boss man.
He says this is a message to the boss man.
In the geek locker room.
Yeah.
Well, they're having a match at Mania, Brian.
I know, but think about this. The Undertaker versus the big boss man.
In a Hell in a Cell
Could you
cage.
have a more random fucking match than that? No.
Yes, there were several on that
There
show.
there was some on this show.
Ridiculous. Like
So-
this next one?
D'Lo and Owen are out there hitting each other with cookie sheets. They brawl up the stage. They roll back down to the ring. They do a double down with broomsticks. Out comes Jeff Jarrett. He tries to throw the guitar to Owen. D'Lo intercepts it. D'Lo breaks the guitar over Owen's head. Owen's bleeding everywhere. D'Lo pins him.
It's not even that. He sneaks out.
Yeah.
Tries to sneakily throw a guitar into the ring
In this hardcore
in a
match.
fucking Steel City street fight. It's like, why didn't Owen Hart just come out with a guitar? I hate this show.
Did you notice that Owen had grabbed a piece of the debris and put it on his face
Yes.
like a mustache?
Yes.
I popped.
The Undertaker split up his army backstage. Split them up to various areas of the arena to go hunt for the boss man. You guys do the parking lot. You guys do the boiler room. Blah, 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 whatever. The point is, they all go their separate ways.
Right.
New Age Outlaws versus Hardcore Holly and Al Snow.
This was random.
Yeah, they're just back together.
Forget about random. It's illogical because Holly and Snow
Right.
have a match against each other with a Road Dogg coming up.
Right.
So
Well-
here they're just partners for no reason.
Well, they fought.
It did not go well.
No, they broke up. Can I say something here about this match?
Sure show.
While we're here,
Who has the worst pile driver in all of wrestling?
Crush.
Wrong. I once thought that same thing until I saw fucking Billy Gunn do his pile driver here. They did a stuffed pile driver finish. Fucking Billy, he holds the guy for the pile driver, he starts falling, and then he puts both of his hands down. He just lets go of the guy who's upside fucking down, falling towards his head.
that's not good. Don't do it that way, everyone.
Yeah, but
well, don't
Crush-
do it at all, everyone. But
Crush did this week after week after week. I don't think I've ever seen Billy Gunn screw that up like that.
I don't know. I watched his pile driver and thought, you better never do that move again. Somebody's gonna die. Sucked.
So yeah, it went like 3 minutes. It was mostly Al and Holly fighting each other. They pinned Bob, and then the Ministry all showed up at once.
After they split up.
So much for splitting up. Hell of a leader, Undertaker.
Well, they split up and came back together.
I guess so.
Okay.
They beat up everyone, and Taker warned Boss Man they would come face to face tonight.
Is going to come face to face. Boss Man will come face to face with his maker and the Lord of Darkness. That's two different people.
I paid no attention to what Undertaker says in detail.
I think it's the Undertaker and Boss Man's mom. That makes sense. His maker.
Well, that would be who made him.
Yeah. And the Lord of Darkness.
Oh, I see.
Why can't they be both?
Oh, the Undertaker and also Big Boss Man's mom. I think you meant Undertaker and Boss Man's mom like they were brothers. That's what you said.
The Undertaker and Boss Man's mom are brothers?
No, Undertaker and Boss Man. You said Undertaker and Boss Man's mom like they have the same mom.
I see.
Let's talk about Jim Ross.
It's great.
He tells Steve Williams they're going to treat you better than they treated me. And he comes out to a mixed reaction. They showed his face in slow-mo last week to emphasize his Bell's palsy. That was a dick move. Showed a pic of his mom. And then they said Ross was also embarrassed when Steve Williams was knocked out in the Brawl for All. One of these things is not like the other.
One of these things was last year. Everything else was weeks ago.
One of these things is a sporting event. Two of them are tragedies.
It's true.
So Ross calls Michael Cole into the ring.
So Ross has a bag with him.
Shopping bag.
And Michael Cole gets in the ring and he goes, "Hey, JR, what's in the bag?"
Fair
Now,
question.
Ross says, and I quote, "Compelling question, Cole."
This was amazing.
He reveals that inside the bag is a gi top, which is part of the gi, and a mask. He says this was the idea the creative and marketing geniuses came up with for Steve Williams. I was so mad they didn't run with this for a while. This karate guy, Steve Williams. Remember when he showed up in the gi and the mask?
Yeah, it sucked.
And he's doing like this?
Yeah, it was awful.
It was awesome.
No.
It was awesomely horrible.
Okay, let me ask
Like,
you
they
a
should have
question.
done it for a few weeks to build up this angle, right?
Let me ask you a question. Did they do that just for this?
Fuck if I know. If they did, they should have done it for longer.
Yeah, I think they legitimately thought it would be cool.
He's out there swinging his hands around. I just loved it.
It got over with one person,
It's
and it took 19
so
years.
stupid.
So Ross says this costume is the most pathetic pile of horse crap he's ever seen.
He's wrong about that.
Fans cheered. Then Ross turns to Cole. "Hey, who was the one who helped you out here and got you started and answered all your questions? Got you prepared to be an announcer?" And Cole says it was you. And JR says, "How did you pay me back? I'll tell you how. You went backstage and told everyone you can't put me on TV with a face like this."
I'd scare small children and animals.
Yes. He says, "I want to leave you, Michael Cole, with something nobody would ever forget." And he punted him right in the balls.
Yeah.
Best moment in Raw history.
He kicks the guy in the balls and he says, "Get the hell out of here because I'm going back to work where I belong at ringside."
"Drag your Yankee ass to the back," is what he said.
Right.
Fucking crowd. They did not give one shit about this promo until he kicked Michael Cole in the balls and sent him packing, and then he is a hero.
Everyone cheered.
They're cheering,
his
they're
name.
chanting JR, they're just going nuts. He gets in the booth, they're going wild. I'm going wild.
There was a "Bring Back Jim Ross" sign right behind him.
Ah, it was awesome.
So they cut backstage. Vince and the Stooges are just trying to take in what's going on. And Vince calls Terry Taylor over. Says, "I need you to go get Jim Ross off TV and take his place at the announce desk." And Taylor says, "Well, okay." And then Vince tells the Stooges, "You guys keep an eye on the ministry." So Taylor goes to ringside. As soon as he shows up, Ross says, "Oh, good, the Red Rooster's here." Mid-card wrestler with a horrible win-loss record is going to tell me how to do my job.
What, are you going to peck me?
He did say that. It was one of his lines. So Steve Williams comes out, and I was certain that he was just going to grab Taylor from behind and suplex him on his head.
Oh,
on the
man.
floor.
Right.
I was wrong. He comes out, and he is trying to plead to Jim Ross, we should go to the back. As he grabs Jim, and he's gentle about it, but he grabs him, and then Taylor says, "Steve, thank you," or "Doc, thank you for coming out and helping me with us." And Doc shoots him a look. Like, "You stay out of this, Rooster, or I'll kill you." So eventually Williams leads Ross to the back. Everyone boos. Taylor sits down and does commentary. I don't think I've ever heard him do commentary before or since. He was fine,
Yeah, he was good.
He was fine.
which is a huge improvement.
It was a huge improvement.
Over Michael
Like,
Cole,
he's one of those
who was
guys.
ass.
If he's one of those guys where if he were on TV every week, you would not remember a word he said.
No.
Because
That's fair.
Nothing's great, but nothing's, like, appalling.
He does not scream "wow."
Yeah, Cole's out there and you're just infuriated every fucking thing that he says. It's actively annoying.
Yes.
He was just a guy. He was fine.
I'm going to read this just what I wrote down here. Goldust was making out with Ryan Shamrock as Blue Meanie watched and cried.
That's what happened.
Yeah.
I wrote leered.
It's a more creative word.
I wrote looked jealously at her.
Those are all true. He was coveting his neighbor's, well, not wife, woman.
Sure.
The Stooges were backstage with robes and lights looking for the ministry.
They were dressed up in the Druids gear
Yeah.
with headlights.
Yeah.
Headlamps, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Not their best work.
No.
Ken Shamrock versus Goldust. The match is going on. So Blue Meanie and Shamrock are both in Ryan Shamrock are both in Goldust's corner. Then Blue Meanie kisses her. This pisses off Goldust. Shamrock hits a belly to belly and pins him. Then Goldust and Ryan run to the back, and Shamrock beats up Meanie, and it's to the back.
So you're telling me that Goldust and Meanie feuded, then they got together, and now there's dissension.
This show's horrible.
It's fucking hideous. And I did love when Shamrock went to kill the Blue Meanie, and Terry Taylor said Dustin was escaping with
Yes.
Ryan.
Oops.
He's new at this.
Yeah.
It's okay.
He had another Mean Street Posse hype video.
Fucking awesome.
Can't wait to see these guys.
This is Pete Gas and Rodney, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Joey Abs comes in later.
Rodney is very underrated.
Rodney was unbelievably great here.
Was he not?
He was stupendous. How did this guy not have a 15-year career as a manager?
Everybody remembers Pete Gas, and he was awesome.
Honestly, it's just you.
But no, everybody does.
Do they really?
Everybody.
Okay, I'm wrong.
Yeah. Fucking wrote a book.
Well, then,
What?
but since then, yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, he was a guy that everybody remembers. But like Rodney was an underrated,
Rodney was
great talker.
awesome.
He was so good here.
He had that 90210 haircut.
He's just telling a story about they're pulling up at the light and they go to the car next to him, and these two beaters are looking at them. So Shane O'Mac had to take charge and whip their ass. He was great.
It was like a cross between your carjacking story and, you know,
I don't know, actually.
maybe he was the guy that sure it wasn't him.
Shane McMahon carjacked me?
Rodney.
Pretty sure it wasn't him.
I mean, the way they're telling the story, I thought maybe there's a possibility here.
I didn't look anyway. Stooges were fucking around backstage. Does anyone want any detail of that?
No.
Test versus X-Pac.
This was kind of fun, actually.
China's boobs are just beyond preposterous. I mean, they're ridiculous.
She has very large implants, and they were practically exposed here. Very small bikini top.
They're very pendulous.
They
Yeah.
Yeah. They kind of
He's not wrong, Vinny.
when she
That's a
walks,
good word.
they kind of do this.
Pendulous.
Yeah.
So, Shane McMahon's on commentary. To be fair, by the time Shane was done, I was waiting for Michael Cole to come back. Shane sucked.
He's very, very annoying.
Yep.
That's
Yeah.
his gimmick.
Okay, you ready for what happened here?
Go for it.
Shane went to interfere, but Hunter shoved him down. Chyna got in the ring, but Hunter yanked her out and stalked her down. Shane hit X-Pac with the belt and Test won. Hunter chased Shane, but ran into a Chyna clothesline. Hunter promised to drag Chyna's ass into the ring and humiliate her in front of the world tonight.
You know, between Chyna and Ronda Rousey, Hunter has done more jobs for women in his career than men. In the last 3 weeks,
He started with Sable, too. Don't forget that.
between modern and like the old stuff we're watching here, I've seen him beat up 4 times in 4 weeks. That's incredible.
It is very rare.
There's no way he sold that much for Mankind in his entire career. It's impossible.
The Stooges went charging into a dressing room. Godfather was in there with some women. He beat their ass. Godfather versus Steve Blackman.
If Isaac Newton would have seen the blonde in this segment,
Yeah. Her bra was working overtime.
he would have rethought his life's work.
Her surgeon had worked overtime.
Well, I mean, she had to keep them up.
No, she
I
didn't.
don't think so.
No, are you kidding me?
Bad massive implants don't go down. These were not pendulous.
No.
These were-
Well, I bet they are today.
No, they're
if she'd
implants.
been on the moon, they'd have been straight up here.
So, anyway, Godfather says instead of the match, you can have one of these women. Blackman says, I want them both.
Can you repeat what you just said, Vinny? Because I don't want people to think we're pigs. We're recapping what
I'm-
happened on this fucking show.
I'm cleaning it up. Godfather says, what he said was, you can skip the match and take one of my hoes. Blackman said, I want them both. And Godfather said, aight. We're all leaving.
Everybody cheers.
Yeah.
He's super over now that he chose 2 women instead of fighting.
Draws runs out and attacks Blackman. Godfather joins in. Ministry comes out. and kills
Blackman
everyone.
deserves his hose. Godfather will not stand for somebody stopping this transaction.
You put so much more thought into this.
That's
than I
what
did.
happened.
What was the
I'm
transaction? The prize money?
Yeah.
I guess.
Okay.
He's like, listen, I gave this guy these hoes, and here comes this idiot draws. I gotta make the save. I promised this man these men.
Say what?
I'm a man of my word.
No, well.
I promised this man these women.
Yeah,
I'm a man
there
of
we go.
my word.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's
Whatever.
questionable. I mean,
This show's stupid.
who am I to judge?
Well, on that note, Brian. China came out and called out Hunter. Hunter came out. Kane came out. Hunter went after Kane. China grabbed Hunter. Kane shot a fireball. Hunter ducked. China got hit. Hunter tended to China. Kane threw Hunter out of the ring and tended to China himself. Lawler called Kane a big red retard. EMTs came to help China. Kane killed them. Kane carried China to the back. This sucked.
You know why this sucked?
Because I wasn't fast enough. It actually took less time than all.
Why doesn't Kane shoot a fireball at everybody?
That's a great question.
I mean, we know he has the power.
I don't know.
He should just be shooting fireballs in all his matches, right?
I guess.
The show sucks. Lack of logic.
Nitro, in hindsight, blew this out of the water.
I am thinking Nitro is better as we get going here.
By the way, the fireball looked really good.
The fireball came dangerously close to China's real eye.
Yeah.
And she probably was really scared and went down like a...
Sure.
Yes. So after the break, Kane has a towel
Go ahead.
over China's face and is cradling her head backstage.
So next, Sable comes out. She's coming out with Tori.
Yeah.
So what happened was Sable and Tori was a fan, kept coming in the ring. Sable kept having her arrested or whatever. But then it's a swerve, and they turn on Luna, and now they're together.
Right.
Right.
She comes out with her new Playboy magazine. She goes down to the announce booth.
Real quick, just before we move on, when she comes out, Lawler gives his line that's very tragic, but the show must go on, because we just saw China's face on fire.
Right.
Terry Taylor knew at this. He like shrugs and says, her career may be over, and that's it. Like he's incredulous. We're just moving on. But yes,
He's got a point.
we're just moving on. So Sable, Brian.
Sable comes out, and she's got her new Playboy. She sits down next to Jerry the King Lawler, her co-worker.
Yeah.
Definitely, yeah.
She says, Jerry, I got something for you. Hot off the presses. Playboy magazine. Jerry Lawler opens the Playboy, and he begins to leer and salivate over her naked body as she's sitting right next to him.
Of course.
This was fucking ridiculous. It was so creepy.
You don't think HR would look on that?
I can
Oh
see
my
this exact.
God.
If Sable had done this with Jerry Lawler in the magazine off camera, I believe it would have gone 100% exactly the same way.
I was just aghast. So he's got his Playboy.
She did nude photography and is showing off her work.
Did you see
He's
the?
talking about the pages being sticky, for fuck's sake.
He did say that.
Yeah.
He did say that.
Do I need to go further?
He said, "This is the greatest thing I've ever seen," and I believed him when he said this.
See the fans peering over.
Yeah, and then
King's-
she's holding it up so they can all see.
Sable showing it off.
And the best is later, Lawler's got it, and it's open to, I mean, he's not opening to an article.
No.
I mean, he's looking at her titties. So then, like, something's happening, he just puts it down on the desk. And so later, they cut back to the desk. There's her tits all over the desk.
Yes. That's a little weird.
The Attitude Era.
It's a little weird. So this is all to have Tori versus Luna, which went a minute, and Luna got DQ'd for choking.
And then fired.
Was she fired?
She was fired this week.
Wow.
Oh, in real. Okay, yeah.
Had some backstage issues, and
Yeah.
they got rid of her.
Yeah, so Luna gets DQ'd for choking. She leaves. Sable beats up Tori, tears her shirt off.
Excuse me, Sable beat up Tori.
Yeah.
Oh, didn't they just get together?
Right.
Okay. Yeah, the show sucks.
They came out together.
Yeah.
So we're now like an hour and 40 minutes into this 2-hour show, and the big boss man shows up for work.
Yeah.
He walks into
He
the
was
park-
busy.
Well, he's got that. He's got that security job that he does.
Yeah, maybe he was also handing out tickets.
Sure.
The ministry beat him up. He just walks in the parking lot. There's Taker. And they just swarm him and get him. They go to commercial, and they come back. They strap him to the symbol.
Yeah. They're not crucifying him. They are sacrificing him on a symbol.
Yes.
Symbolically.
Yeah. So it's the same one they used for Austin, and he's standing on the platform, and he's grabbing the handles, and they start to raise him up, but they raise him up. He's in the air. He's 6 feet off the ground, and then he breaks free and jumps down.
Right.
That's a big jump for a big guy.
It is.
So the corporation runs out. There's this giant brawl, and cops are there, and Taker's beating up cops.
The corporation versus the ministry has to be the worst program of 1999. What could be
there.
worse than this?
As Boss Man
So
is,
many geeks.
as Boss Man is on the symbol, Taker says, "The corporation will fall until there are only one left, and then she
That's true.
will fall as well."
That's a very good Undertaker, actually. But yes, she is the last one in Taker's hit list.
Oh, man.
So
Can't wait.
the corporation leaves. Taker has been hitting the cops, but now he goes to surrender to the cops. But before he does, he throws his hands in the air, and this symbol, which Ray Traylor had legitimately been hanging from a minute before, explodes into fire. What in the fuck? These stupid motherfuckers.
Vinny, I know this is appalling to you, but think about how many times Kane had a match and the pyro was scheduled to go off after the match.
Right.
And fuckers were up there on the top rope by the post.
That too.
Undertaker got blown up by his own pyro once.
A few times, actually. But yes. But yeah, I couldn't believe my eyes. You risked immolating a man for nothing. For this stupid, wacky bullshit story.
Well, you see, Vinny, in their minds, it wasn't nothing.
Uh-huh.
This is a big-time angle for a big match at WrestleMania. The Big Boss Man versus The Undertaker in a Hell in a Cell match, which will end via hanging.
So,
Spoiler alert, dude.
cops are putting Taker in the cop car.
I'm warning you.
Vince runs out to taunt him. Stay in jail or I'll get you, he says. And the cops push Vince away, and Taker is sitting in the cop car cackling.
And meanwhile, Paul calls somebody on one of his newfangled cell phones.
Paul Bearer made a phone call, yes.
Yeah.
Steve Austin versus Mankind with Rock on commentary and Paul White as special ref.
Hey, they had a good match till the finish.
really-
Steve Austin goes out there and he gives it his all every time.
As does Mick Foley.
Yep. They work their asses off.
Beat the hell out of each other.
Paul White was a pretty good referee. Rock was funny on commentary.
The only thing that sucked about this is that special refs always suck. So frankly, I'm still unclear what the steps of this match were. Apparently Mankind had to win to be a ref at Mania.
Yes.
They never
So-
said that.
So
They forgot.
Rock said it.
Yeah.
The announcer said something totally
That
different.
was his story, but somebody forgot to say it in the opening segment.
Okay.
He had to win to become referee.
That makes a little more sense then. Because Rock was always getting on Paul White for not counting fast enough. And I thought, Rock should want this match to go on for about 4 hours. So Steve Austin breaks all his arms and legs. But whatever. So eventually, I did like Mankind goes for the Socko Claw, and Rock says, "That's a foreign object." He was sure to add White must be retarded, because that's their favorite word in 1999. Okay, so Austin ends up on the apron. He is brawling with Foley, who was in the ring, and Paul White is the fastest 10 count you've ever seen to get Steve Austin countered out, so Mankind wins, and now he is the other special ref.
Yeah.
And White immediately chokeslams Mankind. Austin gets in White's face. Vince separates them. Rock is beside himself on commentary. He does not know why Paul White has been put a second ref in. Now this is further proof of this conspiracy against him by the Giant. He goes to fight Austin, and Austin cleared the ring, and the place just came unglued.
Yeah,
And
because
again, it's the same lesson from Nitro. No matter how bad this other shit it is, these top stars are so giantly over, it doesn't matter.
yes.
The notion that Attitude Era TV shows were good TV shows is false.
Yeah, but you know what? I have to hear every day, "Oh my God, Bryan, you hate these shows, but they did such a great rating. These shows were great." No, they had stars. You know what did a great quarter hour on Nitro? Ric Flair versus Goldberg.
How about that?
Why? Because it was fucking Ric Flair versus Goldberg. It didn't matter about the rest of the show. They wanted to see the stars. They want to see Rock. They want to see Steve Austin. They want to see Vince McMahon. The rest of the show can be complete bullshit. People are going to tune in gigantic numbers to see those guys. And they did.
So yes, the Nitro with zero wrestling the first hour was the best show of the night.
So why did Paul White help Mankind win?
The
If
announcers,
he was only going to choke slam him afterwards, what the fuck's going on?
the announcers were asking about this, and Lawler said Vince must have some kind of plan. So perhaps,
So that's their out.
perhaps next week, I don't remember. Maybe Vince does have a plan.
I have no fucking idea. Well, anyway, that was a show, everybody. And yeah, pretty bad. Although, I know Vinny didn't think it was that bad. I'm telling you, that first hour of Nitro was unfucking godly horrible. Rest of the show was better than Raw. If we do the 2 hours versus the 2 hours,
That's fair.
clearly better than Raw.
Yes.
All right. Well, with that, we're going to wrap it up here.
Excuse me.
Yeah, you missed something.
Oh, fuck.
Do you know how disappointed people would be if I did not do this?
I didn't realize.
I made a joke earlier about people quitting, but this would actually do it.
You yourself were very disappointed.
The finishes on this show were pin after a guitar was intercepted and broken over a guy's head, pin after a guy turned on his partner, pin after the Blue Meanie kissed a girl, pin after a weapon shot and interference from 3 people, DQ in a minute for choking, fast countout by a crooked ref.
Hey, that was a lot of finishes, though.
There were a
lot of pinfalls on that show, more than usual. Hey, they're turning around.
Yeah.
Raw has become not a wrestling show.
No. Raw, this Raw may as well have been Lucha Underground.
This is a variety show with entrances and stunts.
But you know what?
And burlesque.
This brings me to my point I was going to make at the end, but I'm going to make it right now. I never realized this before, but the more I watch this Attitude Era, the more I realize that Stone Cold Steve Austin is like, I don't even know how to describe it. He completely does not fit into anything else on the show.
Yeah.
It's the fucking Gong Show. And then at the end, Stone Cold Steve Austin, like an 80s Crockett badass heel wrestler who everyone loves, comes out and kicks everybody's ass.
It's like a whole nother show.
It is. It's like he comes from somewhere else. And he appears on the show and then he leaves again.
Yes.
Like everybody else on the show does the gaga and the bullshit and the pyro and the ballyhoo. Mankind, Rock, Vince, Undertaker, Kane, everybody. But not Steve Austin. Steve Austin, you know what it is? It's a throwback to the 70s where, like, everybody knew that it was fake. But in the 70s, it was like, well, you know, all the undercard matches are fake, but then Bruno's going to come out. And Bruno's he's going to solve this problem with this fucking foreign heel. That's what it is with Steve Austin. He's never involved in this bullshit. Everybody remembers the bullshit that he was involved in, like 2001, when he wore a cowboy hat with Steve Austin, and the fucking company just went down the tubes for a few years. Yeah. But, like, at his peak, like when everyone talks about, well, the Attitude Era made Stone Cold Steve Austin. No, Stone Cold Steve Austin was a separate entity that made this all work. So my point is, like, when Braun Strowman's out there, or when Roman Reigns is saying suffer and succotash, and Braun Strowman's playing a double bass or whatever, like, you ain't gonna get a Stone Cold Steve Austin.
It's an upright bass.
Whatever. What'd I call it?
Double.
Well, they call it a double bass.
Double bass is this.
Anyway, the point of this is, like, if you want to make a Steve Austin, he can't be part of this bullshit. He's got to be a serious badass that kicks ass and leaves. He was the biggest star on the show. Yeah, the rest of this show, holy shit, what was this?
Retro Raw number 303, March 15th, 1999. Rock comes out for a promo. He was also beloved this week.
Dude, this is amazing. You know the term for The Rock? This is a man who creates his own reality. He's out there doing this promo. He is still pausing after he says the millions.
And it's catching on.
Fucking waiting. He's been waiting and waiting. He will not give up.
No.
He is going to will these fucking people to say the millions, and they will.
Eventually.
They've already started to repeat some of this stuff. They haven't got the millions yet, which is astonishing in hindsight. It's like, how the fuck have you people not figured this out yet? They haven't.
Especially these people who did love him.
That's right. He is not giving up.
So he talks about beating Steve Austin's ass. Says he still does not trust Paul White. He wants answers. He calls out Vince McMahon. And Vince comes out and he's in a mood. He says, Rock's full of crap. All this Rock stuff's gone to your head.
Oh, calls him Dwayne.
Time for a reality check, Dwayne.
Sucks.
Talked about everything that McMahon's had done for The Rock and his dad and his grandfather. That's not your championship, it's mine. Talked about the Big Show, Paul White.
I still can't remember a time before he was the Big Show. It's so bizarre to see them calling him Paul White on WWE TV.
He said he promised White would make sure Rock left Mania as champion, but out came Paul White. He was pissed off. He's upset Vince had questioned his intelligence. Rock got in his face, but Vince says, "Nah, I got this."
Vince says, take that tenor out of your voice.
Yeah.
He tries to...
Tenor?
He meant bass.
I was going to say, this guy ain't no tenor.
So
It's ridiculous.
he says, "As long as you're cashing my checks, you'll do what I say." And he slapped him. What a dumb thing to do.
Yeah.
I'll say.
So White bullies him into the corner, warns him to never do that again.
Is that really bullying when the other guy slapped you first?
No.
Okay, manhandled
He
him?
bulled him.
Bowled him. Fair enough. Warned him to never do it again, but he did let him go. And Vince says, "All of this has gone too far. This is what Austin and all these people want. So I will book, to prove the corporation's a unit, I'm booking the two of you against Mankind and Steve Austin in a tag match." And they were all happy with this. And Vince orders them to shake hands. They reluctantly did. And then Michael Cole, channeling Tony Schiavone, called it the biggest tag match in the history of Raw. It was bizarre. Like, it was seriously felt like Tony Schiavone was on the wrong show.
So this went 17 minutes. I will condense it to less than 17 seconds. Rock and the Giant hate each other. The corporation is about to fall apart. And Vince solves the problem by getting the two men who hate each other to form a tag team for the main event.
Yep.
That doesn't make any sense.
You ever, well, you only have one child. You never had a fight with your sister and your parents, like, said, "You guys settle this amongst yourselves"?
That's not what happened. He
You had to-
settled it for them.
You had to settle things with your sister?
Yeah, what does that mean?
I mean, yeah, I didn't mean...
They send you out in the
like
backyard
a fist fight.
with boxing gloves? Ridiculous. That was a bad analogy, Vinny. You're
Probably
stealing
was.
my gimmick.
It probably was. Craig is very disappointed in me.
Well, my brother and I used to go outside and settle things.
Yeah, I did not mean to, like, come to blows.
Well, I mean, she beat his ass.
Well,
How dare you?
I thought that was a given.
Hey,
Fuck you both.
my sister beat my ass.
Yeah, see, I believe that.
Yeah.
Is she older than you?
No, she's 2 years younger. But she was mean, and I was nice.
When did that start?
It's always been like that, Craig.
I actually did make my little sister cry once by putting her in the Iron Claw.
Did you ever tell the story
did
about when we were doing an angle for the YWF back in the day? And I'll make it quick.
Mm-hmm.
I was watching WrestleMania 7, and Sergeant Slaughter whacked Hulk Hogan with like a chair or something.
Mm-hmm.
And Hulk Hogan goes down and he goes like this. Comes up bleeding. I was like, what the fuck was that? Watch it again. He goes down, he runs his thumb across his head, he comes up bleeding. I'm like, how the fuck? What was in his hand?
Did you gig your sister?
Don't interrupt my story,
Sorry.
Craig. Know your role. So, I'm thinking, what the fuck could this possibly be? I figured it had to be fake blood. But the only fake blood I knew was, at Halloween, you have the blood capsule. It comes out of your mouth.
Sure.
I'm like, how the fuck did he get it on his head? So I'm at the grocery store, and I see food coloring. And they had food coloring in these little tiny vials like the size of your thumb.
Little squeeze bottles.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I thought, fuck, that's how they do it. He gets
Sure.
a red food coloring bottle, and he just runs it across his head. So I got my buddy to film, and I said, okay, Nick, my sister, we're going to do this angle here. And I don't remember what the angle was, but the point was we had a stick, because my dad was a fence builder, and it was fairly thin. And I said, you're going to whack me in the head with this stick. It's going to break. I'm going to go down and do the deed. I'll come up and be bleeding everywhere. So I said, just, whack me with the stick. It'll break and I'll do the deed. So we do the angle and she takes the stick and she goes, whack, right on my head. Fucking stick doesn't break. So there's that pause. And then she goes, whack, 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 whack. Fucking whacks me like 15 times till the thing breaks. Nearly killed me.
Hard way?
Well, in the hard way, but man,
That's too bad.
that was the last time she was at an angle.
That's also too bad.
Ugh.
Anyway,
I love your sister.
Michael
Maybe
Cole,
that's why I don't remember these title changes.
it might be the stick angle. Cole and Jerry Lawler are running down the show when a construction crew walks out and begins to set up something in front of their desk.
Oh my God.
These guys.
They go to the break. and
There can be no segment where there's just one thing happening.
no. And no segment can be given time to happen either. Everything has to be in a hurry.
And then Lawler goes over there with a mic and he's like, hey, what are you building? They would tell him.
They say, we don't know. It's just our job.
You don't know what you're building? Craig, is that possible?
No, it's impossible.
Craig, go build something.
I don't know what to build.
Good, keep going.
I guess I'll start with a foundation.
Road Dogg versus Val Venus for the Intercontinental title. This was set up on Sunday Night Heat in a tag team match when Val pinned Road Dogg.
That's right.
The champion pinned a guy, and so that guy gets a title match.
Right.
What?
Yeah, it sucks. The Attitude Era is terrible.
It really is.
And worse, they're actually... I could not even believe this. They're in the ring doing a match, and there's 4 fucking guys outside. They got like an electric saw, hammer.
Yeah.
You hear this right in the background. And
8 people just canceled.
For some fucking reason,
It's called the Sawzall.
Road Dogg and Val Venus decide we're going to work our ass off anyway.
Yes.
They're bumping like crazy. They're killing each other. And fucking Michael Cole, in the first smart thing he's ever said on commentary, says, I can't pay any attention to this match. There's a bunch of shit going on in front of me.
And he's had no excuses ever since.
And then in the middle of it, Road Dogg hits a DDT and wins.
Yeah, he DDT'd him out of nowhere and won the Intercontinental title.
Yeah.
I was like, none of you remember this. None of you.
No.
I actually...
This is bullshit.
This specific moment, no. But I do remember, because I've been talking about it since December, Billy Gunn has been chasing this Intercontinental title for 3 months. He's been feuding with Shamrock.
That's right.
He's been feuding with Val. Goldust got involved. All leading up to that moment when Billy finally gets that IC title. And the payoff is his tag team partner wins it instead. That's the end of the story.
Well, more on that later.
There's more on that later. So Billy runs out to celebrate with Road Dogg. They are still partners after all. And that's the end of that.
Now, it's funny, too, because this construction crew was actually cutting into things. There was sawdust flying.
Yes.
There were wood chips.
They were really building something.
Yeah.
Rock and Big Show were bickering backstage. And then Lucas tried
Well,
to...
Rock, we got to mention because they're on a Twitter campaign.
Oh, yes.
Rock does tell Giant he's looking at him like he's half retarded.
Yeah.
So if you're keeping track, if you're drinking, you should probably see the doctor by now.
So whoever Lucas is tried to interview DX.
A skinny geek. I mean, we all know what they look like.
Treated him like one. They kicked him out, celebrated on their own. And Billy says, Road Dogg, I'm happy for you, but now you got to give me a title shot.
And Road Dogg says, are you serious?
He stops. Like,
And Billy goes, yeah!
Road Dogg's like, I've been champion for 3 minutes. Shane McMahon comes out for a promo. He says,
I should add, by the way, Vince McMahon and Shane McMahon, the owner of the World Wrestling Federation, and his son, who at the time was believed to be his successor,
oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
they're coming out for an interview, and these fucking guys are sawing shit during their promo.
Yeah.
Yes. They had a job to do. Shane says beating up X-Pac would be as easy as 1, 2, 3, kid. I laugh.
Aha.
So he says, to prove how bad I am, I'm going to take on the Legion of Doom by myself. And out comes Pat Patterson and Gerald Briscoe dressed up as the Road Warriors. Now, none of what followed made a damn lick of sense.
No.
Like, it actually contradicted
It was
sense.
so ridiculous.
Yes. But it was Pat Patterson and Gerald Briscoe bumping their asses off to make Shane look good. So I liked it.
I will go as far as to say, actually maybe Kurt Angle, but Pat Patterson had one of the best matches I've ever seen with Shane McMahon.
Right here?
He carried him better than anybody with maybe the exception of Kurt Angle.
Yeah.
Pat Patterson was fucking incredible in this match. He was so good. And Shane's beating the shit out of him with his awful strikes.
Which are still much better than his strikes of 2018.
Ugh.
I'm not sure how he devolved. I mean, he was very athletic.
Well, he got old.
I guess that's the answer. Well, I've seen a lot of wrestlers get old. They
48
don't
years
fall
old
apart
now.
like this.
He's 48 years old.
This was like a really, really, really long joke with a very, very unfunny punchline.
So Shane beat their ass, hit him with Bronco Busters. Hunter and X-Pac are looking on in disgust backstage. And then Shane hits the Stooges with belt shots and wins. Let's keep this in mind for later.
Yeah, so you're telling me that Shane really beat the shit out of the Stooges, hit him with belts,
He
and
hit them
pinned
with a weapon, a heavy, blunt object.
God, how about that?
And
That
pinned
seems
them.
pretty serious.
Yes. Let's see. As the McMahons, they're very happy about Shane's big win. But as they walk up the ramp, a picture shows up on the Titantron of the McMahon Casa Vince's house, and we hear Undertaker's voice saying, "She's not home, but she will be soon." And then the ministry goes creeping through the yard.
Oh my God. We'll get to that.
Creeping around the grass and hiding in bushes and peeking in windows. And Cole and Lawler are like, "That's Vince's house." How do they know? Michael Cole's been to Vince McMahon's house.
Hey, may have been,
I'm
actually.
sure Jerry has.
Vince used to have meetings with people at his house.
All right. So Vince and Shane are distressed. They are on the phone with security people who insist they have not seen anything. Jim Ross and Steve Williams come out. Before anything happens here on Raw, they show what happened the night before on Heat. In the M&M Slam of the Week, which begins with Tiger Ali Singh, who is still employed. He pays a fan, who is Ed Ferreira, to imitate JR. This causes Doc to suplex Ed's face into his own sternum. How did he not die?
I have no idea.
Apparently, he legit broke his ribs. You'd think he broke his neck and everything in between. Yeah. This looked violent. So, and then, by the way, Doc powerbombed Tiger Ali Singh for good measure.
Now, I don't know what really happened right there, but, like, if you're Steve Williams and you're Ed Ferrara, like, Ed's not a worker, so maybe in his mind he was like, well, I got to go up for this guy. And,
Right.
Steve was thinking,
This guy's not going to go up.
this guy's going to be a sack of shit. I'm just going to throw him as hard as I can. And the two things together, it's like when Randy Orton gave the Singh brother the back suplex
Yes,
onto the
yeah,
table.
yeah.
He gives that move to a bunch of big fucking guys,
Yeah.
some of which probably barely go up. And then he finally gets a Singh brother, and the Singh brother
150 pounds.
goes up for the guy, and Randy throws him into the rafters and
Yes,
back down.
Yes.
Sometimes accidents happen.
Yeah. So the construction crew have been building Jim Ross's own personal announce desk.
Everyone cheers.
Everyone cheers and roars with enthusiasm.
Now, I love that they got it built in record time, but also had enough time for the paint to dry.
Yeah, they painted it.
Yeah.
And a logo.
And they had a JR scratch logo,
Yeah.
which is actually a great touch. So he just takes over. He, a few times, invites Lawler to join him in first class. Lawler refuses. And so for a while here, it was just the three guys all talking over each other. Jeff Jarrett and Owen Hart versus Public Enemy for the World Tag Team Championship. Public Enemy.
Dude, I can't believe the titles didn't change.
So
It was here that I realized
This show sucks?
there's no mid card in WWF. There's some main eventers and nobody else.
Yeah, a bunch of geeks.
yeah,
Kind of like today.
except no main eventers today, just a bunch of geeks.
Yeah, Braun.
I guess Braun.
Roman.
So, anyway, Kevin Kelly interviews Public Enemy, and it's now part of the show that nobody wants them there, and the locker room hates them. They promise they're going to earn some respect. Match went 2 minutes. Jarrett hit Grunge with a guitar right in front of the ref, who didn't care. Owen hit a top rope elbow and pinned him. And apparently the referee also does not want Public Enemy around anymore.
Why? They seem like nice guys.
You'd have to ask
What
them.
have they ever done?
We were just told. Because, actually, we were told it's because of where they used to work.
Oh, I see. So then we have Shane and Vince on the phone with the cops. Now, keep in mind, there's a lot of stuff on the show that doesn't make a lick of sense, including what we'll talk about here with the Stooges soon. But this fucking thing made absolute complete sense.
Yeah.
Vince calls the cops. He says, and I quote, "We have a tragedy going on. The Undertaker is going to my home."
Yes. What he said was, "The Undertaker and the Ministry of Darkness are in my front yard. You need to send officers to my house."
So the cop
Straight face.
tells him it's a publicity stunt. And Vince goes, "You're watching me on TV?"
Yeah.
I was like, this is beautiful. This is as real as can be. Finally, something real.
Yes.
Involving the ministry.
Yes. Also, by the way, Vince was being very serious about this because he had his glasses on.
Oh, yeah. It's very serious. Well, you had to, see the numbers on the phone.
Yeah. So they go to the break. They come back. Vince is upset. He admits he doesn't know what to do.
He wouldn't know where the 9 and the 1 are on the
No.
touchpad without his glasses.
So the phone rings. And Shane answers. It's him. He passes the phone to Vince. Vince is not on the phone long. He puts it down. And Shane says, "What did he say?" And Vince, choking back tears, he said, "It's almost 10 o'clock. Do you know where your family is?" And he goes to have a cry. Vince McMahon's broken.
Yeah.
So they go to break. They come back. Vince has collected himself. He gathers the corporation for some kind of plan.
Corporation, you say?
Yes. This leads to Big Boss Man versus Midian in a hard time steel cage match.
Before we get to that, you neglected to mention that when he met with the corporation, Patterson and Briscoe are right there.
Yeah.
They're totally fine.
Yes.
They're in their suits again.
Remember
Their
when
hair's a little bit wet.
Remember you said some things in the show didn't make any sense?
That's one of them.
Nothing has ever made less sense than this.
I was like, what the fuck? You sent these two fucking guys to slaughter.
Yeah.
And they're just back here?
Not just sent them to slaughter, you slaughtered them.
No bandage.
No.
They got hit with belts.
Maybe.
They're old.
Maybe the match was staged.
No.
That's not the way it was presented.
No. This was
Patterson
ridiculous.
and Briscoe were fighting back. Yeah, there's another scene later where it's just the four of them, where it was even more obvious.
Yeah, it's just ridiculous.
Regardless, so in this hard time steel cage match,
Oh, first we had Mick talking to his sock backstage,
I didn't write it
which
down.
I have to mention because shouldn't he be upset he got fucked out of the world title?
Should be.
He doesn't give a shit.
Well, he doesn't
It's
care.
all about his sock now.
Well, he doesn't care because he's the ref.
Dude!
He's going to be a ref, brother.
This was dumb.
Yeah.
So Cole complains he can't see anything. There's a cowboy hat in his face, and JR doesn't miss a beat. You're gonna have a cowboy boot in your ass if you don't shut up. Why was heel JR not around for like 10 years?
Line of the night.
Dude, it wasn't just heel JR, it was every JR. JR
Badass
was
JR,
awesome.
Yeah. So match goes a minute. Corporation just comes out, gets in the cage, beats up Midian.
Yeah, it went 2 minutes and the doors just open.
Well, it's Vince McMahon.
I know, but it's stupid.
He had a key. So Vince says the corporation will destroy Midian unless Taker gets away from this home. We get a video of Taker's porch. And Taker says, "Go ahead."
Hold on.
Okay.
Let's talk about his porch. They're in the middle of Connecticut. Vince McMahon's fucking brick house.
Mm-hmm.
And standing on the porch in their goddamn ring gear,
Yes.
their outfits.
Yeah.
It's the entire ministry.
Brood, Viscera.
You got
Acolytes.
a 500-pound fucking guy standing there with contacts in his stupid outfit.
And a blonde mohawk.
You got vampires with fangs in.
Yeah.
You got the Undertaker in his fucking giant robe.
And nary an eyebrow was raised by a neighbor.
And it only got more ridiculous. But it was pretty fucking ridiculous right here.
Well-
and by the way, Vince says, if you don't leave, I'm going to kill Midian. They go to the Undertaker. He says, kill the guy. I don't give a shit.
They already tried to sacrifice him. Why would they care?
What? In fact,
They go back, and then the ministry or the corporation just leaves the guy alone.
yes. Well, they're not assholes.
They were bluffing.
What a bullshit
Murder's illegal,
threat.
Brian. I like that in Taker's speech here about go ahead, he outright says, all my members of the Ministry of Darkness are prepared to die for the Lord of Darkness. Die. Be dead.
Yeah, they'll die for him.
Okay. So everyone watched a car pulled up and suddenly the signal went out. And they went to break and they came back and everyone was just gone. Vince and Shane are trying to call. They can't get an answer. And then we had the most amazing thing on the show. I think of the ground that covers.
Oh my God. In 2018, watching this, it was mind-blowing.
So Jerry Lawler goes to visit Sable at the Playboy Mansion. Lawler, much like the Ministry of Darkness, is in his gear. He is in wrestling tights, that jacket he's always got on, and the goddamn crown.
I just imagine he always looks like that.
It is hard to imagine.
Well, that's why this was so amazing, because like they're doing a tour of the Playboy Mansion, and like the acting is horrific, but because Lawler is wearing his wrestling gear, he gets away with it. Like, what else are you expecting out of Jerry the King Lawler?
Yeah. So Sable's scolding him to keep his hands to himself, but the bunnies are way too old for him, so she had nothing to worry about. And you meet Hef.
Yeah, Hef just walks in.
Yeah, they're wishing well, and then they go into the grotto, and the payoff to all this is Jerry Lawler goes underwater and gropes the women without their permission.
Yeah, that is what happened.
That's the joke.
Yeah, like 6 of them.
And he was, in fact, thrown out for this, but he said, that's okay, I got my magazine anyway. So they go back to the ring, where they put censored pics of Sable's body up on the Titantron. Everyone cheers, and then Sable says, you have to pay to see the rest.
Yeah.
And then out comes Tori. Now, we on this show have
Where
discussed.
to begin?
We have discussed David Flair. We discussed Benoit Malenko. We discussed who else did the Charles Robinson. There's somebody else on Nitro we were making fun of their wooden promo. None of them came close
No.
to the lifeless mechanical delivery that Tori had in this promo.
I'm pretty sure she was a robot.
Yeah.
Like I'll need some sort of proof that she was an actual person. She made Sable look like a good actress.
Yes.
Yeah.
So for months she was stalking Sable. Then Sable would humiliate her, but she still stalked her. Then Sable would humiliate her, but Sable would turn on the one woman who saved her. And now Tori's just, I don't like you anymore. I'm not in your shadow anymore.
Yeah.
And I'm giving this way too much energy and passion.
And she says, they can't see me for free.
They had to pay to see you. I'll show them my goods for free. And somehow this promise to get naked turned into a challenge to a match at WrestleMania. Sable accepts the challenge. Tori then takes off her dress to show how hot she was.
A very, very conservative pair of bra and panties, I might add.
Yeah,
here.
thong.
1990.
I mean, I will say this: Sable's outfit showed almost as much skin as the Playboy spread.
Yeah.
Not Sable's outfit down to the ring may have been more revealing than Tori's bra and panties. But yeah, this is what the women's division was in 1999.
Oh, yeah.
End of story.
For Steph invented it.
Thank God for Steph.
Yeah.
The cops showed up at the McMahon compound. They did not find anything. They left.
The cop showed up.
Cop, singular.
How many cops do you need to send? It's a publicity stunt.
There's a whole ministry there, Brian.
It's a publicity stunt, Craig.
Send the
They're
SWAT
watching
team
the
for
television.
Crying out loud. What these men are capable of.
By the way, why'd they have to send somebody there? If they're watching on TV, they should have seen the ministry there.
Sure.
They know they're there.
It doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense. God damn it.
Main Street Posse hype video.
Love these guys.
First of all, again, Rodney was out of this world great.
It's so great.
How did he not? He was around for like 2 years. What happened? How did he not let this last forever? Second of all, there was a guy named Willie Green who apparently is part of the posse, but they never showed his face. And as far as I know, he never showed up again after this.
Yep.
Or this
They mentioned him on Wikipedia as a former member.
Willie Green.
Yeah.
I see.
Let's recap.
This is the music. Oh, I'm done.
It's an awesome song.
It's just Bad Boy slowed down.
But let's talk about that day that we were driving. We pulled up next to that car,
Oh, yeah.
Were you there?
No, I remember the story, though.
and you looked over.
I don't know what happened. This
I
is
know
a
what
bunch of-
happened.
This is the most out of character thing that I've ever done.
Young, good-looking girls in the car, and Vinny's driving, and he looks into the back seat, and he says to me, "We're gonna get some."
I did say this.
Fucking slammed on the gas,
Did I like?
almost rear-ended the car in front of us. They zoomed off laughing. We fucking didn't get none.
No, nobody got.
You idiot.
There was no sum to be gotten.
Song is so much better with this music, or the story's so much better.
Life is better with this music.
Yeah, you should have told the carjacker story to this music.
No.
Except in your story, you get your ass kicked.
Yeah. They got some.
No.
You know, when that guy opened up that door, Vinny, he said, "Give me your wallet."
They didn't say anything.
Shane should have just flown in and fucking just
Yeah.
That was my mistake. I do not have Shane in my back seat.
give that guy his hands.
I do not have Shane in my Tercel. That would have killed his gimmick, actually.
Actually, his worked punches are probably really soft.
I need to know more with that music. All right.
Billy Gunn versus Hardcore Holly. History. Yes, Billy
is?
Gunn.
I guess.
Yes, because Billy Gunn does a pre-match promo where he promises to make Hardcore Holly fame-ass.
Oh,
Yeah.
they didn't call it that before?
No.
Really?
So they're brawling. They're using a lot of weapons. Holly breaks what Cole said was a mug of juice over Billy's face.
Actually, they did the spot where Holly had a broomstick and he tried to break it over Billy Gunn's head and it didn't break. And so he tried it again, much like Bryan's
It actually
sister.
was, yeah. So Billy goes to press slam Holly out of the ring onto Jim Ross's announce desk.
Oh, my gosh.
He undershoots his target. Holly's ass hits the desk. His back hits the mat below.
Head hits the ground, neck hits the ground, almost kills the guy.
Yep.
I'm pretty sure he was out.
Ross is screaming at Holly for breaking his table. And they are eventually able to get Bob back into the ring because Billy's got to get this moving. And he lays out a chair. And he bends Holly over it. And he debuts the Fame Asser.
God damn it. Is
And
that
Michael
really
Cole-
the debut?
Michael Cole
This
screaming.
is history.
He's done the move before, but they never called it this. Michael Cole is screaming, "The Fame Asser! The Fame Asser!" And after 3 months chasing the IC title, Billy just wins the hardcore title instead. The end.
Awesome.
Well, here's the thing. Road Dogg was chasing the hardcore title. Billy Gunn was chasing the Intercontinental title. And now each of them have the other title that the other one wants.
Yes.
I do love that they called it the Fame Asser. And I guess somebody after a while was like, it's a fucking dumb name. Fame Asser.
Yeah.
So they changed it to the Famouser.
Yeah.
That's way dumber.
Fame Asser. Oh, God.
Because he's the ass man.
Yeah.
This is coming.
He's Mr. Ass already.
Dude.
So we had Vince and Shane and the Stooges all hanging out like chums. And they don't understand how the cops couldn't have seen anything. And then the monitor switches from Raw to Vince's house. We hear Taker's voice. And Taker says, "The cops are gone, but she'll be home soon. Maybe I'll be the father figure she never had, or maybe I'll just torture her." And then Undertaker's symbol is burning in Vince's front yard.
There is a fucking burning cross in Vince's front yard.
Yeah.
And you know why it was so good was because
Why?
the segment starts.
It's not good at all.
No, no.
Good. Don't answer this question.
No.
actually.
The segment starts with the explanation that the cops didn't see anything.
Yeah.
And it ends with a burning fucking 10-foot cross in Vince's front yard.
Brian, it's a symbol.
Get out of here, Craig.
It's a cross with an X over it.
This show sucks.
Hunter comes out for a promo. Talks about Kane burning China last week. Says, "Yeah, you lit my fuse."
The explanation, China had a partially burned retina.
Didn't even catch that
What?
part.
A fireball hit her in the face, partially burned retina.
So he calls out Kane, and I was paying extra close attention because at first I actually thought this was going to be like X-Pac in disguise. They do a wacky comedy skit. So I was paying very close attention to Kane when he came out. And I said, "That's definitely not Kane." And he started brawling with Hunter. I said, "Well, he's way too big to be X-Pac. That must be Taker." So that is how I knew, because I went in going in thinking it wouldn't be Kane. So they're doing this brawl. Vince comes out and he begs Kane for help. "You can talk to him," he says. It's his brother.
You can speak his language.
You speak his language.
He doesn't speak English now?
Hunter doesn't give a shit. He was trying to pick a fight. Just gets his ass kicked by Taker. By Kane. What a mistake.
Oh, Vinny.
So
Killing this show.
eventually Vince goes from begging Kane for help to demanding Kane for help. And at this point, Kane turns around, and as soon as he goes to the bottom of his mask, the fans know what's going to happen, and they're totally into it, and he unmasks, and it's the goddamn Undertaker. He's not in Connecticut after all.
It actually took me a split second because Kane reaches for the bottom of his mask, and I'm like, he doesn't unmask for a few years. And then I was like, oh!
Yeah.
Took it off. It was the Undertaker. I was like, God damn. That was a great swerve.
Gotcha.
So Taker grabs Vince, and we at home hear this, but the fans in the building do not. But he just says, "It's that simple. Anytime, anywhere." The lights go out. Kane's pyro goes off. Taker's gone. Kane's music plays. He was never even there.
Yeah.
Vince is about to break down in tears. They go to break. They come back. It's Pat Patterson's job to console Vince McMahon. And the best he can do in this time of crisis is, "I feel for you, but I think it's over, Vince." Just letting him know, yes, your wife and daughter are about to die.
You know why
move on.
it's so funny?
Just move on. Just start grieving now.
It's okay.
It's so funny because, like, every segment the Stooges were in earlier in the show, Patterson totally blows it off.
Yeah.
Vince are not going there. Vince, the cops are great. They'll make sure nothing happens. Vince, don't worry about it. Everything's okay. Then at the end, it's all over.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing can be done.
Just move on. Find somebody younger.
Main event: Rock and Paul White versus Steve Austin and Mankind. Was this pre-match promo, by the way, the debut of If You Smell?
May have been.
I think it was the first time he did it. I could be wrong. I've been wrong before, but it's the first time I noticed it for sure. So this match was awesome.
That was great.
They kept White on the apron for several minutes because this is his first match in the company. Then as soon as he tags in, he's a goddamn giant, so he takes over immediately. they're having this great match going back and forth, and it occurred to me, now I realize I've seen the Giant in a lot of really good main event matches, so the fact he was in a good main event match here should not have stunned me, but he's still only been wrestling for 5 years.
Yeah.
He was amazing.
Yeah.
Austin gets the hot tag, and when I say hot tag, this tag was fucking hot.
This dude tags in, the place just goes absolutely... They completely lose their shit for this guy. Mm-hmm. And keep in mind, The Rock had been in there. And Mankind.
And the Giant in his debut match.
Yeah.
So all 4 guys are brawling everywhere. Austin puts Rock through a table, and then Austin's music just plays.
Yeah, and the show goes up.
And the show ends. Yeah. Well, that was lame.
Well, we had to have it on both shows.
We did, in fact, dueling, no finish, really good match, tag team main events.
Yeah. But overall, Nitro was the better show this
Nitro
week.
was the better show. I actually liked Raw, as ridiculous as it was.
It wasn't horrible. There was some stupid shit, but I mean, it was
2 hours.
It was an enjoyable. It was kind of a fun show.
It was a fun pile of shit.
Sure, yeah, it's a good way to put it. So yeah, next week is Club Lavella. We can all look forward to that.
Brian, we need some music.
And then I think it goes off a cliff. I'm just doing a preview here, Craig.
Okay,
What's the hurry?
Well, I'm just looking out for Vinny.
What's your damn hurry?
The finishes on this show were clean pin, double pin after belt shots, pin after a guitar shot, no finish in a hard time steel cage match, pin after fame asser, and then no finish in the main event. Retro Raw number 304, March 22nd, 1999.
Go home show for Mania.
It was, which I didn't realize until like the very end almost, but yeah.
I realized at the beginning of the show when they told us.
You're correct. I watched this Monday night, so I forgot what I watched. Anyway, I did not forget what happened here in the opening. Steve Austin arrives at the building, and he notes, there's a beer truck conveniently located right outside. And of course, it's Steve Austin, so the driver wants an autograph, and Steve says, I'm busy right now, but I will get you one as soon as I can. So The Rock and the McMahons come out for a promo. The announcers say this will be the biggest Raw of all time.
Yeah.
With a Steve Austin Big Show main event. Shane challenges X-Pac to a Greenwich Street fight right here in Albany. That's what he said. Rock starts talking about Mania. It is, in fact, 6 days away. This is the go-home show. So I did notice here. He threatens to end Austin's career, but then, as he's running his mouth, Austin is shown backstage watching this promo on a monitor. And Rock sees Austin watching him. He starts running Austin down, and finally Austin turns and walks away. And Rock thinks he has won.
He ran him off with his promo.
He claims the runoff.
Yeah.
He buries Austin for walking away like a coward, promises to destroy him again at Mania.
Tries the millions again. 5 straight weeks now.
They
were like 10 guys.
Yeah.
It still is not caught on yet.
No. So Vince adds that The Rock will be refereeing the Stone Cold Big Show match later tonight, at which point Mankind appears. He challenges Rock to a match where the winner gets to be the referee for the Austin Show match.
Now, before we go any further, correct me if I'm wrong, the Big Show has never wrestled on TV.
He did the tag match.
Did he?
Yeah,
last
week.
The tag match with no finish.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. But it's for singles match.
This is for singles match.
Yeah.
So, yes, he challenges Rock to a winner gets to be the ref match. Vince and Rock turn him down. And Mankind then produces paperwork, which he claims was signed by Shawn Michaels, still commissioner.
Oh, my God. Let me go through what he said here, because it's ridiculous. Okay? So Vince has announced that tonight on the show, it is going to be Steve Austin versus The Big Show. And we're also getting the other matches. So Mankind says he wants to be the referee, and Rock says, kiss my ass. So then Mankind says, I thought you would say that. I also thought that Vince would sign Stone Cold Steve Austin versus The Big Show. And I also thought that he would make Rock the referee. So thinking all of that, I in advance went to San Antonio and had Shawn Michaels put together a document saying that I would referee the Rock versus or whatever match in the main event here tonight.
Yes.
This is ridiculous.
He's a very smart man. He's 8 steps ahead of the McMahons. They're playing checkers and he's playing chess. I just like that Shawn Michaels apparently is not in condition to perform, but he's still a character.
Yeah.
They just call him by name.
He was for like all the 99.
Yes, it took the entire year. He never reached.
Because you know what, Vinny? They have forgotten, and I believe WCW may be doing this now with Flair, and I don't even know what Dusty is, but it's okay to have a heel authority figure if you have a babyface authority figure to counterbalance them. Mm-hmm. So obviously, Vince McMahon is the heel. He's the owner of the company. He's the bad guy. But to get around some of these stories, there is a babyface authority figure that can step in and make things right.
Yeah.
Nowadays, it's like there's just a heel authority figure, and they just fuck with everyone all the time on every show, and it's always depressing.
Yes. That's factually accurate. So Vince says, okay, whatever, fine. Rock will kick your ass again. That's fine. He says, now I have a video to play for the Greenwich Street fight, but instead Steve Austin's music played, and yes, a beer truck drove down the ramp.
It drives down the ramp, and it drives down the aisle, and it's a very, very, very tight fit.
It fills the aisle.
Like there's
ring to stage, railing to railing on either side.
2 feet on each side, and Austin is driving.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How the fuck did they clear this with the insurance people?
Not to mention, it's a tall truck, and it hits the bottom of the Titantron.
Yeah.
And the thing starts to swing back and forth.
Thankfully, the Titantron has some wiggle to it. So it could...
This is just outrageous.
So Austin gets in the truck and he's posing.
And what was funny? Austin was driving, but the quote-unquote driver of the beer truck was sitting shotgun.
Probably just...
Who's the fool here?
I don't know. So... Austin promises it doesn't matter who the ref is. I'm taking the belt home with me either way. Then afterwards, I'm going to drink a lot of beer. In fact, I want a pre-match beer right now. So he climbs down off the truck and starts mucking around over on the side of the truck. Rock is filling time by running his mouth. As he's cutting this promo, the manager trying to point out, hey, what's Austin up to? And then Steve Austin grabs the beer hose and sprays Rock and the man's with beer.
Beer hose.
What do you call it? It's the hose in the beer truck.
Do you think they really fill them with a garden hose?
I don't think actual beer trucks regularly have fire hoses.
Right.
I'm not sure how this all came together, but Austin did.
Well, it's fake.
It's
a story.
So
fans are just whipped into a frenzy.
Shane and Rock basically just hang out on the far side of the ring and grab the ropes to hang on for dear life. But Vince.
Yeah. Star of the show.
Vince is in the center of the ring. He's flopping his arms around like he's swimming, screaming, waving his hands helplessly. Starts to stand up, fall back down. Vince was awesome. Now, let me tell you something. We've been doing these Raw replays now for, 3 years? There's a lot of things that we've totally forgotten. There's other things you remember, but you watch them back again, they're not nearly as cool. And there's some things you watch them back, and they're actually better than you remember. Yep. The beer truck is better than you remember.
You want to know why?
Sure.
One of the great things about this is that if it were 2018 and it was Steve Austin versus The Rock, like Steve Austin would be doing a whole bunch of comedy, way more comedy. He would have sprayed that shit in the ring and everybody would have been falling down, especially The Rock. Rock would have done a flip. He would have fallen on his ass. He would have pratfalled. He would look like a fucking idiot.
Yes.
Vince knew, I'm the guy that can look like a fucking idiot.
Because he's the heel.
My star needs to look like a star.
Yes.
He's going to hang over there and he's not going to fall down. He's not going to look like an idiot. It's totally different now.
Mm-hmm.
It saddens me.
It is a comedy show now.
Yeah, and the same thing with Austin. Like, he came in and he drove the truck in and he sprayed some beer. But it wasn't, it was, the Vince part was comedy. Austin was a badass from top to bottom on this show here.
Yes.
He cut badass, serious promos. He's going to kick people's ass. He's going to win the title. He's going to win the belt at WrestleMania. He's going to be the champion at WrestleMania. He just happened to have a beer truck with a gimmick on it. Mm-hmm. And he sprayed. He didn't sing. He didn't dance. He didn't act like a fucking moron.
He wasn't even smiling.
No, he was deadly serious.
This was an attack.
I'm going to drown you fuckers with this beer.
Yeah.
I hope you die.
Yeah. Jeff Jarrett and Owen Hart versus Gangrel and Edge.
Well, first we had JR at the frat party.
Yeah.
JR is war frat party. Surrounded by dudes.
You know what, though? In 10 seconds, Jim Ross made this frat party cooler than any of the parties.
He did.
This party looked awesome.
Mm-hmm. And he was firing them all up, too.
Yeah.
Come on, boys, let's watch some wrestling.
Yeah.
They're like, woo-hoo-hoo.
And if they didn't go woo-hoo-hoo, Steve Williams was there and he would have killed them.
Yeah.
So, let's see. Owen and Jarrett versus Gangrel and Edge. You had Owen and Gangrel taking turns doing cool suplexes. You had Edge and Christian switching, even though Christian was wearing a shirt and Edge was not. And neither the referee nor the heels seemed to notice or care. And then a few minutes in, Public Enemy ran out. But both teams stopped fighting each other and beat up Public Enemy instead. Okay, now it's funny. The fact that everyone just hates Public Enemy. So the lights go out. They come back up. The boot is gone. Deborah's covered in blood. There you go.
They're saying that because Public Enemy is from ECW, they are the outsiders, and it doesn't matter if babyface or heel, they don't like the outsiders.
Huh, I thought they got signed.
I just like
Understood.
I think it's funny that everybody hates them. That's all I need to know.
You know, I thought was funny was this fucking Lucas. Who is this geek?
In the history of WWE Backstage Geeks,
Oh my god.
how has Lucas been forgotten?
Tom Phillips would bully this guy.
Yeah.
There's
What?
no way he lasted very long. I'd remember him. He was the king of the geeks.
So the Outlaws bury him because he's Lucas. So Road Dogg is the Intercontinental Champion. Billy Gunn is the Hardcore Champion. But tonight they're facing each other in a title versus title match. And they cut promos saying, I like you and I respect you, but this is business and I want that belt. I'm leaving with both belts. They both say that. That's that.
So we had Billy versus Road Dogg title for title. I got a question for everybody.
Sure.
Who is worse, Billy Gunn or Juventud Guerrera?
Juventud.
Yeah.
Billy fucked up a hip toss early.
He did.
Billy fucked up the very first thing they tried.
He fucked up a hip toss. He did the ugliest tilt-a-whirl in wrestling history.
Well, okay, yes, but also the largest
Yeah, why are you doing this, dude?
because he's Billy Gunn.
He fucked up. He was out to lunch in this match. And I might also add, by the way, that they're doing hip tosses and arm drags, and Michael Cole cannot tell the difference between a hip toss and
course
an
not.
arm drag.
Yeah.
Of course not.
Geeks running for the DQ.
Yeah, so yeah, Billy hits the Fameasser. Outcome Goldust, Val Venus, now Snow. It's a DQ, so technically, yes, that is a DQ in a Hardcore Championship match. And I believe this is the end of Billy Gunn's long failed quest to become Intercontinental Champion. And even as they're going to the bat together, it looks like he's trying to talk Road Dogg into just trading belts. The Stooges are backstage. They see somebody ominous. They beg for mercy. They go to break. After the break, the Stooges and at least one ref have been laid out. It turns out it was the Legion of Doom and Paul Ellering making their return. I don't know if they were ever seen again, honestly.
I couldn't believe they were back.
I thought that Hawk's last appearance was falling off the Titantron.
You were wrong.
Clearly, I was wrong. Blue Meanie came out for a promo. I'm not making that up.
Something else I
Yep.
don't remember.
The fact he was ever in this company, I'd completely forgotten. The fact that he's actually being used is even more amazing. So he proceeds to call out Shamrock. He's very mad at Shamrock and he wants to fight. And of course, he's talking about Ryan Shamrock. So she comes out. Meanie pulls her down and is about to spank her when Ken Shamrock runs in.
So there's a chair in the middle of the ring. She comes down to the ring, and he just like picks her up, bends her over, and is going to spank her.
Yeah. You don't think that would fly today?
So you thought this was realistic until that point.
I thought this was stupid from start to finish.
So Ken Shamrock comes out to save Ryan Shamrock. Goldust runs out to attack Ken Shamrock. Meanie,
Ryan, and Goldust leave together.
yeah.
yes.
After he was going to spank her?
Yes.
Some
This
girls are into that.
show sucks.
The only thing I can note is at the end of this, Blue Meanie had to hit Ken Shamrock with a chair shot, and this was the most professional chair shot
Yes.
you can imagine. Blue Meanie was taking no chances. I'm not going to hurt this man. I'm going to deliver this blow as it must be done, and no more. And then, yes, they all left together, and they're still a group that hates each other or whatever. Back at the frat party.
JR is trying to explain some angle,
It's Bob Holly's fault.
but you can't hear a goddamn thing.
No.
There's these dudes screaming over him.
Yeah.
Every now and then you hear like Bob Holly. Ba, 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 ba.
I heard him.
Da, 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 da. I didn't hear a word he
I
said.
didn't hear anything.
Bob Holly fell in his announce desk and broke it last week.
Right.
So now he can't do commentary anymore. That's why he's not at Raw. It's all
Oh,
Bob
I
Holly's
see.
fault.
Yeah, actually, Bob Holly was the one that almost got broken
All
falling
you
into
have
that
to
table.
do is call that construction crew again. You
But
never
enough
know.
about that. He says, "Where are the girls?"
Hey, they all cheer.
The first beaver cleavage.
Yeah.
Oh, there's
Ha ha ha.
black and white footage of a house with a mailbox that reads cleavage. Mm-hmm. And wacky music playing.
Cool.
The Ministry of Darkness was walking around backstage. That's it.
They arrived.
Vince was upset the Stooges had not brought him coffee. That's it.
Yeah, they're trying to explain what happened as Carrie just wants his coffee. This sucked.
There's like 50 cents, things on the show that are like 12 seconds long and have no point.
Yep.
Sable versus Ivory.
Oh my god. Sable in the ring as a wrestler versus Ivory, who actually, oh my god.
Ivory tried to have a match with Sable.
It was horrible.
Bad idea. It was much shorter, but it was worse than Hoovy and Vampiro.
Yes, this was worse than Vampiro versus Hoovy.
So
Out
D'Lo's on
comes
commentary.
PMS.
D'Lo sends best wishes to Mark Henry, knowing he'd be going to the Hall of Fame exactly 19 years later.
Crazy.
PMS comes out. Terry, I believe, was wearing a skin tone bra under fishnets, but boy, she looked topless.
Yeah, she had those little things.
Was it just
on.
pasties on?
Yeah, basically.
So she slaps D'Lo, who starts to walk her down.
He calls him $2 sluts.
Yeah, the match
They
is
slap him.
the match is going on in the ring. It's awful. And then Jacqueline trips Ivory, and Sable kind of hits a powerbomb for the win.
Now, Sable wasn't very good, but this was totally Ivory's fault.
What's the reverse of idiot proofing?
Sable tried 3 times to powerbomb her, and all 3 times Ivory jumped too early. And they finally got the timing down. And then Tori runs down, Sable beats her up. Sable's like Brock Lesnar here. No wonder
Ironically,
they got together.
Yes.
Well, she is Mrs. Brock Lesnar.
So Tori started her comeback by booting Sable right in her giant fake boobs. So Sable no sold this because it's batting.
Didn't feel it.
Yeah. Mankind versus Rock. They're brawling everywhere. The ref gets bumped. Paul White comes out, chokes against Mankind, but by this time the ref has recovered. He sees this, calls the DQ. Mankind wins.
You know, I keep mentioning this. I should just give up, but it does kind of bother me. Mankind, this should have been a championship match. Mankind never got his rematch after he lost the belt to The Rock.
He never did.
And he doesn't give a shit. He does not give a shit that he's not the WWF champion anymore. He just wants to be a referee.
Right.
I don't know.
This is very, very bad storytelling.
It is. It makes the belt seem unimportant.
Makes him look like an idiot.
And him look like an idiot. So Big Show throws a tantrum backstage because he fucked up again.
Okay, I gotta talk about this, all right? Listen. So, it's supposed to be Kane versus Goldust. Now, if you recall, there was an angle a couple of weeks ago where Kane shot fire out of his hand and blinded China. He was trying to shoot Triple H, but Hunter moved and he shot China with fire out of his hand.
Yes.
Okay. So Goldust comes down the aisle. He does his entrance. The whole 9 yards. He whips off the wig and paint, and it is Triple H. Now, before he reveals that he is Triple H, he raises up, I swear on a stack of Bibles, a goddamn fucking flamethrower.
Correct.
Okay? He blows a fucking wall of flame and shoots Kane
Yes.
with a flamethrower.
Right. Sure.
Okay, let me tell you something, everybody. It is less ridiculous to me that Kane was able to shoot a fireball out of his own fucking hand than that Triple H is out here with a goddamn flamethrower shooting Kane. This guy should be in prison for 20 years. Right?
Yeah.
You're not supposed to shoot people with
A
flamethrowers. I'm
flamethrower!
almost positive that's illegal.
We will never hear about this again. They won't bring this up next week.
Why would you?
It's just a thing that happened and they move on.
Roman Reigns got arrested on Raw Monday for showing up at the building when he was suspended. This fucking guy shows up with a flamethrower, shoots a wall of fire. I can't even, it's not even like it just went psh, like a firecracker. I mean, it's a fucking giant wall of flame that shot out of this thing and burned the shit out of Kane.
That's what happened.
That is attempted murder. That's worse than running over a guy with a car.
Yeah.
Or any of the other
Dropping
bullshit.
a guy in a dumpster.
Any of this bullshit stuff we see in the show, okay? He not only tried to kill this guy, he wanted to kill him in the most violent, vicious, painful, torturous way possible by lighting him on fucking fire.
And he didn't care how many people saw it.
No! That was the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen in wrestling, right there. More ridiculous than Undertaker levitating or any of this other stuff. That was ridiculous. Come on.
So he celebrated
Of course he did.
this arson. This human arson.
I got to get a screenshot of this.
It's
You won't believe
you're
your
not
eyes.
exaggerating.
No.
It's a
No.
giant ball of fire.
It's
If
like
you
a-
watch the final deletion, okay, or any of these things where like Matt or whoever gets a Roman candle and just goes pop, pop,
This is not that.
couple of balls, no, it is a giant. It's just...
I can't believe the ring didn't burn down.
No!
It was an 8-foot flame.
Yeah.
That shot out of the end of this thing that looked like a bazooka.
So
Stupid. You hear me?
Triple H celebrates his barbecue by
I'm disgusted.
beating Kane up for a while. He leaves. They show us the 8-foot wall of flame in super slow motion and assure us that Triple H will still be wrestling Kane at WrestleMania in 6 days.
Oh, yeah. Fear not, fans. Everybody is okay. No charges will be filed against this crazy fucker.
On top of everything else, how do you ever do an injury angle ever again on this?
Dude.
Kane's out for an hour. He's wrestling again in 6 days. We're back at the frat party. Hardcore Holly arrives, gets into a brawl with Steve Williams. It was heavily edited, it's still not very good.
I mean, think about for how many years has it been that we heard the story about Kane and the house fire?
Yeah.
This is worse.
Oh,
Sure.
yeah. This was worse than Kane chokeslamming Undertaker on their dead parents' bones.
I mean, this should be something that Kane talks about to this day. That one time that Triple H shot me with a fucking
Yeah,
flamethrower.
possibly in therapy.
Yeah. Why wasn't this brought up to Dr. Shelby?
Ah, that's a good question.
That's a serious, violent, vicious, murderous attack. But they forgot about it a week later.
So, yeah, Steve Williams and Hardcore Holly have a badly edited brawl in this house party. The only good thing was they destroyed an aquarium. I hope they got the fishies out of there.
That was
first.
not a good thing. Are you kidding me?
Hope they got the fishies out of there.
You know what the terrifying thing was? They actually...
Glass everywhere and dudes drunk.
There was that,
I
but
like that
then
too.
the one time Steve Williams threw Bob Holly's head into the refrigerator, and as Bob Holly lay on the floor, the shadow of the teetering refrigerator I screamed. I closed my eyes. Luckily, it didn't fall.
No. This went on too long and it sucked. Austin wore Mankind to stay out of his way. That was it. X-Pac met Shane in the parking lot for the Granite Street fight.
Yeah.
So there's one kick. Shane McMahon, this is crazy. Shane takes a bump on the concrete in the freezing cold in a puddle.
Yeah.
Yeah, he wasn't thinking.
No.
He got too carried away.
Ow. So the Mean Street Posse, which at this point is like 8 guys.
Well, I think we got a brief glance of Willie Green and Billy P.
Billy P.
Yeah, there's another guy. Who we never
I
see
don't know
again.
Billy P.
Yeah.
So they're all destroying X-Pac. There's like 5 of them, counting Shane. And then they all just run away.
They run away. They jump into a sports car of some sort. They
Corvette.
zoom off in a very, very dangerous manner.
Shane's
Yes.
leaning up the sunroof, screaming at him. Lucky he didn't fall
nuts.
out. X-Pac's running after them. He got beat up by 5 guys, and the 5 guys, during the beating, while they were winning on him, all ran away, and then he chases them?
Well, they knew the wrestlers were going to show up.
Oh,
They
is that
jumped
it?
him and got the fuck out of there.
They jumped him. They held him up against a wall, and they all held him so Shane could punch him in the nuts.
Yeah, this was not about winning, Vinny. This is about softening the guy up for WrestleMania. Championships
did it-
on the line.
Dude, we just saw a guy get lit on fire. He going to be pressed by a nut shot?
No.
They should cut off at least one of his arms.
They should have got like a flamethrower.
Yeah.
Burned him. He still would have made the show.
Undertaker was backstage making mean faces into the camera. That was it. Big Boss Man and Test and Ken Shamrock versus Undertaker and the Acolytes. They brawl into the crowd. It goes a minute. The lights go out. They go to commercial. They're never seen again. What? What?
That's what happened.
All I know is Taker was feeling it this evening. He hit the ropes like a crazy man.
He runs the ropes very well.
Did the clothesline and he just got so much air he did a full flip.
He almost landed on his feet, actually. That was
It
impressive.
was awesome.
Yeah. Vince comes out for a promo, now, of course, wearing no shirt under his ruined suit jacket.
Of course. Let me say one thing about Jerry Lawler. I like Jerry Lawler. I think he's I've always loved Lawler on commentary. But he fucked it up here tonight. Vince McMahon, first he demands they show the beer bash again because he's so mad. He's so mad he's going to show it to you again. He says, I guarantee that Steve Austin will not enjoy what he's about to experience. But then he says, there's no chance in hell that he will become the WWE champion. And Jerry Lawler jumps in and says, there's that guarantee again. Wrong. Vince did not guarantee that. The guarantee is spot on up until this point. It's an undefeated guarantee. Lawler screwed it up by saying that he guaranteed that Steve Austin would not win at WrestleMania. That disgusted me.
Are you sure?
I'm positive.
I think this is the point where the guarantee streak is supposed to end.
Well, maybe it did, but he did not guarantee. He said there was no chance in hell of him becoming WWF. I wrote it down.
I actually did too, and I'm looking at it now, and technically you're correct.
Yes. Yes, he did not guarantee. He did not guarantee that Austin would at Mania.
He guaranteed he would not have fun.
He only guaranteed that he was not going to enjoy what he was going to experience here tonight. And watching the match,
You sure he said here tonight?
Well, he just said what you're about to experience.
Okay, yeah. Vince left some room for confusion here.
He did.
So, let's see. Big Show versus Steve Austin with Mankind as special ref and Rock as special commentator. So, Mankind is completely biased. Austin is using chairs and low blows, whatever, in front of him, and Mankind's even just openly punching the Big Show. This is going on for a while. They go outside, and I will say this. You mentioned Steve Austin is like, I forget who you said it was. He's like, but he doesn't care about what else is happening on the show. His segment's going to be awesome.
Yep.
He was working so hard to have the best match he possibly could here in the main event of the Go Home Show.
And it was pretty good.
It was a good match.
Pretty good.
He was frantic. He knew this is a giant, and any chance he had for any kind of offense he needed to take, pounce and don't let the guy up. Don't give him any chance for air. Cheat however you have to. Tear off the turnbuckle pad, grab a chair, whatever. So, as I noted, Mankind was openly attacking Big Show throughout this match. And they go on the floor. They do a press slam on the ramp as safely as it could possibly be done. And somewhere in here, Cole says, "Hey, Mankind is doing a great job." And Rock can't tolerate this. And why would he? What do you mean he's doing a good job? Mankind sucks as a referee, he says. And he's exactly right. Mankind was a horrible ref here. So this goes on for a while. It's good. It's good. Austin does a Thez press, makes a cover. Mankind forgets to count. He does suck as a referee. And then Austin beats up Big Show with a chair. And he hits a stunner. And he makes a cover. And Mankind counts 3. Big Show's first pin in 1 month.
When Vince McMahon was negotiating with the Big Show, and when he signed him, he was like, these fuckers at WCW. They don't know what to do with a giant. Mm-hmm. We're going to get this guy. He's going to be my new Andre. He was convinced that they fucked up the Big Show, and he was going to turn him into the modern-day Andre the Giant, a larger-than-life. In the Giant's first WCW match, you won the world title.
Yeah. Yeah. From Hulk Hogan.
In the fucking Big Show's first WWF singles match, he did a job.
Yes.
What?
And you know the most amazing thing about it? I knew, of course, because it was a big deal. I remember the finish.
Oh, God, I remember this vividly.
What I had forgotten was that this is an era on Raw where there'd be 2 to 3 matches every week where nobody got pinned.
Yeah, no finish whatsoever.
There was no finish in the 6-man. There was no finish in the tag match, but Big Show had to get pinned.
He had to get beaten.
What the
Why,
fuck?
Vinny? Why?
I don't know.
I'll tell you why. You don't watch Raw. This has been his MO forever.
Well, yes.
Every time somebody, your number one guy, is going to be going for the title, he's got to beat a giant.
Well, that too.
Roman Reigns, remember he had that fucking horrendous feud with the Big Show for like ever while they were getting him ready for the title.
Yeah, yeah.
Then every fucking year at this time, Rock beats Braun Strowman on the way to WrestleMania. Every fucking year.
Yeah.
That's what he does.
He does that. You're right. And the other thing he does is that every time somebody new comes in, Vince has got to tear him down.
Well, hey, he signed this guy to a fucking ridiculously expensive deal, so it's his money.
Yeah.
It ain't my money. So there you go. That was a show.
Show ends. There's a big brawl. Rock lays out Austin with a rock bottom, and the show abruptly ends.
Yeah.
Are you excited for WrestleMania?
No. I really was not that excited for this WrestleMania, but what do I know? It did huge business.
Well,
because people wanted to see Steve Austin beat The Rock.
Nothing else mattered, yeah.
Yeah, the rest of this was just bullshit.
Retro Raw number 305, also March 29th, 1999. They recapped the last 6 months of the McMahon-Austin feud, and then showed Austin celebrating his win over The Rock at WrestleMania the night before. So Austin comes out to celebrate. He says, I got to give Rock credit. It was a hell of a fight. And that's the end of that sentimental crap. I love Austin. Says he woke up with a bunch of empty beer cans and his new belt, and he determined this belt is not worth the trouble or aggravation. And what I couldn't help but notice is the number of times in this promo when Steve Austin used the word belt.
Well, it is a belt.
It is.
Yes.
But it was so odd to hear that on a Vince McMahon produced television show. It may have been this single promo that turned Vince off after hearing it for the 4,000th time. So he said he wanted Vince to come out so he could relinquish the WWF belt. Fans boo this. Out comes Vince. He's surprised.
He peeks his head out of the curtain. And he's like, kind of got a grin, but he's not sure. And he
suspicious.
slinks his way out, and his smile gets bigger.
He
like,
was the Grinch. Yeah. So he cautiously enters the ring. But finally, he takes the belt from Austin, and he smiles. And he can't leave well enough alone. He's got to poke the bear. I knew, Austin. I knew one day you'd crack under the pressure. And I should say thank you, or I could say thank you, but I'm not going to. And he starts to leave. And Austin says it's not going to be that easy. And he has them show the video from September when Vince fled the building with the Smoking Skull Championship belt.
no memory. I think this was on a pay-per-view.
That was on a pay-per-view.
WWE Breakdown, I believe they called it.
It was the, I forget which one.
Breakdown, end of the line.
It was one of the Austin, Kane, Undertaker kerfuffles. But yes, Vince left with the Smoking Skull
I
belt.
hate that word. That's banned from this show. Like belt is.
Kerfuffle?
Yeah.
Really?
Stupid word.
He's got a thing.
Go ahead.
Don't worry about it.
I'll try to avoid it. So, anyway, Vince, after stealing the Smoking Skull's belt, then vowed to put it above the fireplace in one of his many homes.
Yeah.
So that's the video. And Austin says, all right, I returned your belt, but I am still champion. I want you to send your butlers to Greenwich, Connecticut, and get my belt.
You got 2 hours to get this belt here. I'm going to beat your ass in front of everybody.
Yes. So Vince says, no, that belt is mine. And I'll remind you, you can still be fired if you lay your hands on me without sufficient physical provocation. So Austin shows a video of the night before when, in the middle of the ring in the WrestleMania main event with the whole world watching, Vince stomped a mud hole in Austin. And Vince says, I believe that is sufficient physical provocation.
I love that apparently in the contract, it says, Steve Austin cannot lay a hand on Vince McMahon without sufficient physical provocation.
Mm-hmm.
However, if there is significant physical provocation, Mr. Austin has a 24-hour window with which to kick Vince McMahon's ass, after which he can no longer kick the ass of Mr. McMahon.
That must be how it is written. That's how Austin explained it. He said he had 24 hours to kick Vince's ass.
Maybe Austin was working as his own lawyer.
Who was working as Vince's? Yeah, the 24 hours conveniently expired at the end of Raw.
Which, by the way, even with this storyline, this is so stupid. Because he's waiting till the last minute to get the belt back.
Yeah.
He should have said, you have 1 hour, or I'm going to kick your ass. All Vince has to do is wait till 10:59, come out, run around for 30 seconds, 60 seconds, and then he's okay.
I guess so.
Sure.
Because the moment that clock hits 11:01...
Either that or Austin just really did want the belt back more than anything.
Well, he did, obviously.
Yeah. This all went less than 15 minutes, so it's totally fine. Oh, I forgot, there's an end. Austin's music plays, but then Vince drops him with a belt shot and then runs for his life.
Yes.
And Austin, of course, you can't have the hero laid out by this villain in particular. So Austin just gets up and smiles and repeats that Vince has 2 hours. There you go. Vince meets with his crew.
Oh, God, first... 8 million people arrived.
Yeah, I did.
I mean, seriously, it was like...
Here's so-and-so walking backstage. Here's so-and-so
these
in the
people
building.
arrive.
Here's these folks walking
These
in.
people arrive. These people arrive. Paul Bear's 900 pounds today. These people arrive. It's crazy. He was so big. He was gigantic.
Had some cool sunglasses, too.
So Vince meets with his crew. Tells Stephanie to call the house, get the belt delivered to the
Where
arena.
the fuck did she come from?
She has been around. They've been slowly working her in. Well, actually, no, they had her because she was at the house.
She was at the house, but now, like, all of a sudden she's at Raw as a regular character.
Now Vince, they could have explained this better, but if you had your daughter at home being stalked by The Undertaker, you probably want to keep her close by so you can keep an eye on her.
That's fair.
You know what I'd do?
Stay home?
I'd call the fucking police.
You can do that too.
Every time there's a problem, everybody's like, Vince, you got to call the cops. Oh, I can't call the cops.
They tried that.
Which actually, I guess we'll find out later why he's not calling the cops. But for now, it's ridiculous.
Yeah. So, let's see. Tell Stephanie to call the house, get the belt. Shane starts to scold Vince, but Vince scolds him right back, shuts him down right away.
Calm down. We're doing this my way.
Do things my way.
Which is a very important line, by the way. We're doing this my way.
Sable and Jacqueline versus Tori and Ivory.
What?
Sable and Jacqueline versus Tori and Ivory.
Okay, so let's all just hold on for a second here. Okay,
Sure.
we have not been watching WrestleMania. Were Sable and Tori not buddies again like 2 weeks ago?
No, they were. The go home thing was Sable showing off Playboy, and then Tori coming out and saying,
That's right.
"I get stripped too."
So they were enemies, then they were friends,
Right.
then they were enemies again.
I think you're missing a friends in there somewhere, but yeah.
No, enemies?
Well, when it started, they were friends because she was stalking her.
No, they weren't friends then.
Okay.
She was just a stalker.
You can't be friends with a stalker.
That was enemies.
You probably shouldn't. You're right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Then they became friends.
Okay.
Then they're now enemies again. Okay,
Yeah.
so she comes out. Tori's wearing this bizarre, somewhat flesh-colored bodysuit.
Sort of tigery.
Yeah. So it's supposed to be a tag match. Ivory and Tori versus Jackie and Sable. Ivory chases Terry to the back immediately.
Right.
So now it's a handicap match. Sable hits Jackie with her belt. Sable, by the way, standing on the apron, holding her title belt.
Yeah.
Yes.
Ref doesn't have any problem with that. She clonks her. Tori gets the pin. So Sable helped Tori beat her own team.
Yeah.
Correct.
That's what happened.
Then Tori and Sable tease fighting after Sable helped Tori win.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't know. Don't try. Brian, don't try.
What's happening here?
I don't.
Then
None of this makes any sense. Before we get to the post match, I just want to say a couple things. First of all, Sable comes out, and her new gimmick is to ask fans, "Are you ready for the grind?" and then do the most unerotic dance you've ever seen.
Yes.
PMS now has an entrance graphic.
I wouldn't say the most unerotic. I mean, the Blue Meanie dances on every show.
Yeah, you're right. So, PMS is an entrance graphic. It's just the letters PMS over a giant pair of boobs.
That's true.
That's the whole thing.
Now, I did some math myself, and with Sable, Jacqueline,
Who else did
Tori,
math?
and Ivory, and also Terry, I did some math. I got out a slide rule and an abacus, and realized after I did all my math, and my math all checks out, there was 38.56 pounds of silicone in and around the ring.
There was a lot more implants back in the Attitude Era
I'm
than
so
these
disgusted.
days. Well, it's our job to report.
I don't know if there were more implants. They're just better implants today.
The math checks out.
That maybe
Brian.
that's possible.
Yeah.
So okay, so that all that bullshit happens. Tori and Sable are facing off, even though Sable just helped Tori win, and then the Ministry of Darkness interrupts. They all come running out. I don't know where the hell Tori went. Sable is trapped in the ring.
Sable is trapped, and the Undertaker grabs her and he says, "I'm here to see what you've got."
And then
She doesn't even miss
sorry.
a beat.
Sable says, "Of course she is.
She just
I'm hot."
starts grinding in front of him. He is unimpressed.
no,
I don't know what he was waiting for. Grabs her by the neck and demands Vince come out or he's going to snap Vince's meal ticket.
That's what he said. Yeah.
Not sure if she's his meal ticket, but
well, she is selling a lot of magazines and getting
yeah, for
WWE
Playboy.
and getting WWE's F's name out there in the public. I guess.
I think Austin's his meal ticket, but
So Sable's trapped in the ring. Yeah, he's got her by the neck. He demands Vince come out before he snaps Sable's neck. Shane offers to go in Vince's place, but Vince says, No, you stay here and keep an eye on Steph. I'll go to the ring. He goes out on stage, asks Taker, "What kind of man are you?" And he looks around and realizes this is not the entire ministry. And he shouts, "Stephanie!" And he runs to the back.
this fucking guy goes to the back, and of course Stephanie's gone. You know who else is gone? Shane.
What a shitty brother.
This fucking guy, what's he doing?
No
He
idea.
just immediately left the room when Vince went out
It was
there.
2 minutes.
He went to get a hot dog and a Coke.
You had one job.
Yeah,
He
watch
has
your
one
sister.
job, stay in the damn room.
It's not even watch this strange person. Watch your little sister.
So he's an absolute
Keep
idiot.
an eye on her so these zombies don't kidnap her.
She's gone. Vince is near tears. I know they'll find her.
So they go to break, and they come back. Vince is yelling at Shane backstage. He says, "This guy hanged the big boss man last night. Who knows what he'll do to Stephanie?"
True. He did hang him.
Yeah. And they're both actually near tears, and they say, "Let's go search the parking lot." X-Pac comes out for a promo. Says it's the 1-year anniversary of his return to the WWF. He had come back because his friend had called him to help keep DX together. They kicked ass for a year, but last night that all changed. And they had not explained this in the show yet, but at Mania, Hunter turned on X-Pac to reunite with China and join the corporation.
Yes,
I have zero memory of this.
cost X-Pac the match against Shane, and so X-Pac is now mad.
I remember the heel turn. I forgot that he actually was in the corporation for a while. So let's see. He vows that DX will not die. He and the Outlaws will still come out and say, "Suck it," every week. The fans roared. He said, "Your name's Hunter, but you're the hunted. Tonight we're going to fight, and your ass is grass, and I'm going to smoke it." Everyone cheered.
A fine little promo.
It was fine. Vince and Shane had not found Steph. The phone rang. We could hear Undertaker, but Shane could not. And Taker says, "She really is sugar and spice and everything nice." Ha 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 ha.
What is Taker doing?
Nothing.
Oh, it's just supposed to be in your imagination.
Okay.
Big Show Paul White versus Test.
Should add that Shane told Vince to call the cops, and Vince refuses. I will not call the cops.
So they showed at Mania. By the way, no mention throughout anything of Raw of Mick Foley or Mankind or the ref or anything. So all that payoff was nothing. But they did show Big Show about to chokeslam Vince, but he thought better of it and set him down. And then Vince slapped him, and so Show punched him out.
So a babyface turn here for the Big Show.
5 weeks.
Yes.
5 weeks into WWF. He's already turned twice, I guess. So Big Show won in seconds.
He says, "I don't give a damn, Vince, about your problems with The Undertaker. You think you own me, but nobody owns the Big Show. I will make you eat your words."
Now, before that, Big Show won via a
Oh, yeah.
phenomenal chokeslam.
I guess he didn't win first, yeah.
Yeah.
Test is a big, big, big human being. And Big Show got him way up in the air and held him aloft for a long, long time before dropping him down to earth. It was spectacular. Then he did his promo about making Vince eat his words. Vince said Steph must be somewhere in the building. He sent Ken Shamrock to find her.
Ken says, "I vow I'll bring her back, Vince."
And then he left with the Stooges.
Man, how this world would be different if he would have married Stephanie. Can you imagine?
Jesus. Yeah. It'd be a shoot now. Shamrock is on the hunt.
Yeah.
He should have had like the houndstooth cap and the magnifying glass. He goes running around backstage, kicking just boxes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If I kick enough boxes, she'll be in one of them.
It's like Super Mario Brothers. You get coins, flowers, and Stephanie McMahon. So he asked people, "Have you seen a girl in a blue shirt with long brown hair?" I know she had not been on TV long.
No, no
you
one knows who
seen
Stephanie McMahon is.
McMahon?
No, come on. Come on, Vinny.
Steve Williams versus Hardcore Holly.
He's not a sleuth, Vinny.
That's clear.
It's really.
I did run the end.
I guess so.
Gumption.
He did find her.
He did.
He is a sleuth.
Persistent and stick-to-itiveness.
So JR's out there, and on commentary, he notes that the only reason that he called the main event of WrestleMania last night was because Steve Austin demanded it. That's a true story.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
So it's Steve Williams versus Hardcore Holly. Hardcore Holly had won the Hardcore Championship the night before, 2 weeks after Billy Gunn had won it in the first place.
Right.
The whole match is Doc beats Holly's ass. The ref gets bumped. There's a stampede through a table. Al Snow appears. He waffles Doc in the head. with the red pen.
Just goes clang.
Oh my god, it was sick. And then Holly crawls over and pins him.
Yeah.
This was shit.
Ross complains to the referee his boy got screwed. The storyline is Al Snow does not want anyone to beat Bob Holly except himself. That's a shitty storyline.
It's horrendous.
Just want y'all to know.
You know the worst thing? That suggests the end of this is a Hardcore Holly versus Al Snow match.
That's true.
Well, yeah.
That sounds terrible.
Sure does.
Vince says, I can't function. Shane, you take charge.
That didn't work last time. Why would you do it again?
And Shane
He ain't
says,
thinking straight. His little girl has been kidnapped by the Undertaker.
and Shane is fine with this.
Of course he is.
What a shitty brother. Dude, now, here's where my memory kicked in. There's a reason Shane's such a shitty brother. But yes, he's a shitty brother.
They're out there for Rock versus Billy Gunn.
Yep.
He's doing commentary, and first he sits down.
Gosh.
And they're like,
He's such a spaz.
Shane, your sister's been kidnapped. And he gets very quiet and he goes, yeah, I know, it's very Very bad. Hey, Rock, woo!
He was awful.
He's the most annoying human being
Sucked so bad.
on the planet.
So
It was like he was doing coke and downers at the same time.
I mean, the idea is he's supposed to be that
is
annoying.
that a first-handed?
He was
he
exceedingly
would-
good at his job.
He would do exactly what Bryan was talking and be very Yeah! He's such an idiot.
Your levelers might need some working out.
You're fired.
Sorry about that.
Hey, Craig, you're not wrong. That is what Shane did.
He was peeking my
Did
TV.
you notice when I did it, I yelled over the mic when I screamed and not right into the thing?
I'm new at this.
No, you're not. Jesus. The one guy that won't put on his headphones until right before the show starts to protect his hearing.
That's not why.
Did I mention that Tony Schiavone is my hero?
Oh, my God.
So
Get out of Toronto, Craig.
Shane was
Sorry.
horrendous. Rock's doing commentary. Billy moons him. That's their high spot.
Do you know that I have what's called a brick wall limiter, and he exceeded it?
I think he may have exceeded an actual brick wall.
Oh, my God.
They did some stuff. They botched some stuff. Rockety, rock bottom, and people's elbow for the win. Now,
What? I'm fucking deaf. I can't get over this. Jesus Christ.
I'm sorry. I apologize.
Don't ever do that again, Craig, please.
Done and done.
they're not done with this, but technically, since there are no rules in a hardcore championship match, this meant there had now been 3 clean finishes in a row on Monday Night Raw.
Bullshit.
No, it's true.
That's amazing for this period. Shamrock returns to the back, or I guess he was still backstage. He assures he's sobbing Vince, I'll tear his legs off and beat it out of him. This leads to Ken Shamrock versus Gangrel.
Oh, whoa, hold on a second. He's looking for Stephanie McMahon.
Yes.
But he's got a match, Brian.
Vince can't say, hey, forget about the fucking match with Gangrel. Go find my little girl.
Brian, you've seen the contracts. They're signed. You must be prepared for the match at a certain time.
When this fucking guy came out here to wrestle Gangrel, I was so infuriated at how stupid this fucking show is.
But it led to him finding Stephanie McMahon.
They laid a trap, Brian.
Craig, this is fucking stupid.
They outwitted the
He
brood.
he thought that he can go out there and beat some information out of Gangrel.
Oh, really? So he wrestled him for 10 fucking minutes before he beat him?
It did take a long
that's
ass
fair.
time.
Jiminy
I don't know
Christmas.
why this match had to go so long. It was very bad early. It was better later, but it did go much longer than it needed to. And let's see. Shamrock hit the ugliest Frankensteiner I've seen in quite some time. Hooked the ankle lock. Gangrel tapped out.
It was actually a beautiful Frankensteiner, with just the weird bump that Gangrel took.
No, may have been. That's fine. So Gangrel taps. The lights start flashing red. The brood attacks. The lights go out. And when they come up, Shamrock has been hit with a bloodbath, but he has trapped Christian. And covered in blood.
That's not the key. The key is he didn't fucking sell it. Because
That's
he's
also-
Ken Shamrock.
That's also true.
This ain't the first time he's been covered in blood.
No. True.
He didn't care. He's like, this is fake blood.
This is not even mine.
You fucking idiots.
Yes. So he's got Christian the ankle lock, screams, "Where is she? Where is she?" And Christian screams she's in the basement.
The basement of the arena.
With Pee-wee's bike, I assume.
Yeah, how about that? Ken goes to find her covered in blood.
4 people got that joke.
More than that. So they go to commercial. They come back. Shamrock is still covered in blood. He goes into the basement and immediately loses the camera crew.
Like still knocking over boxes and swatting at things.
Road Dogg versus Goldust. So last night, there was a 4-way.
Go on.
There was a 4-way for the Intercontinental title. It came down to Goldust and Road Dogg. Ryan Shamrock tripped Goldust. This gave Road Dogg the win. So Goldust's reward for getting pinned by the champion at Mania is to get a rematch 24 hours later for no reason at all. Ryan does not come out with Goldust, but does come out immediately thereafter. Blue Meanie cuts her off and sends her to the back. Goldust goes for Shattered Dreams, which would have been a DQ, would have been a loss and another failure to win this title, but Road Dogg, like an idiot, pulls the referee in the way. So Road Dogg drags Meanie into the ring. He uses Meanie as a weapon. Meanie hits a belt shot behind the rest back. Goldust hits the curtain call, wins the match, wins the title, and thus the Intercontinental title match at Mania is rendered completely irrelevant.
Dude, anybody who wants to make fun of my memory, don't even bullshit me and tell me you remember any of this. I mean, come on. Goldust winning the Intercontinental title from Road Dogg the day after Mania.
Nope.
This belt is dead.
Oh, yeah.
I also didn't remember the tagline of WrestleMania 15 was the raging climax.
Yeah. Rob laughed. Oh, God. So Goldust cuts a promo, says, I know what I've been missing. I know who I am, and soon you'll know, too. I have no idea what he's talking about.
You're not supposed to, you numbskull. He's supposed to be mysterious.
I watched this. I watched all these shows. You would think... Anyway.
I don't remember either. Maybe he's coming back as... What's his goofy name in TNA?
Black Rain.
Black Rain.
He's got to gain 100 pounds first.
Yeah.
And get a rat. And I mean a rat, an actual rodent. Bloody Ken Shamrock found a very scared Stephanie McMahon in the basement. She was just sitting there.
She didn't run from him.
She couldn't find her way out of the basement.
She ain't tied up. She's just like sitting by
They put like Minions makeup on her.
pipes.
Yeah.
There's a man covered with in
Not
blood.
even supposed to be makeup. She's supposed to be like so scared that she's turned white and red.
There's a black mark on her forehead.
Well, that, yeah.
There's a man covered in blood coming towards her in a basement, and she was okay with this. Oh, look, help.
Well, whatever. So he consoled her and led her away. And Steph is reunited with her family, and Vince is through tears ranting about those rotten bastards. So at WrestleMania, they didn't have any tag teams to challenge for the belts. So they did a battle royal where the last two guys got a title
Funny,
shot.
you mean this year or back then?
Back then.
That's the storyline this year as well.
At least this year they did it before the show. So there was a match to build after the Battle Royal. The Battle Royal at Mania in 99 was the opener. And the last two guys were now a tag team. They got a title shot that night. It was, I think, D'Lo and Test. They lost the title shot, and that was it. And then the next night on Raw, it's Jarrett and Hart defending the titles against the greatest, most famous tag team of their era, the Legion of Doom. Now, this match was no good.
It fucking sucked.
It was a horrendous match. But one of these matches sounds like a Mania match, and one does not.
Well, you know, this was a one-time appearance.
Is this their last appearance?
This is their legitimate last appearance until a one-day 2003 comeback.
Yeah, because I mean, they've already been here many times after Hawk fell off the Titantron, which I thought was the last time they were seen, in Hawk's case, ever.
And this is the Mandela effect. The fact that Hawk did return after he fell off the Titantron. I mean, that did not happen in the timeline I grew up in.
Right.
That's just a fact.
So this match sucked. Animal went the whole way until Hawk hit the Doomsday device. And then Deborah and Paul Ellering distracted the ref. And Jarrett bonked Animal with a guitar, and Owen pinned Animal to win.
Yeah, there's fucking guitar debris all over the ring. Ref's just like, let me get past the sixth string right here and I can count. Stupid.
A limousine
I'm
arrived.
sickened already.
A limousine arrived, and the driver popped out, ran the Smoking Skulls belt into the building.
Abdul.
We learned this is Vince's driver, Abdul.
Yeah.
Vince is thanking everyone, especially you, Kenny. Thank you, Abdul.
Kenny.
Is ever Ken or Shamrock? It's Kenny. And Vince says, I'll always be indebted to you, Kenny. As far as I'm
Lies.
as far as I am concerned, this night is over. He says, tell Shane, just go wherever Austin is. Just give him the belt and end the night.
Well, no. First, he's apologizing, and Shane's the one that comes up and goes, Dad, I got the belt.
Yes.
Vince is like, I don't care about the belt. Like, find his dressing room. Just go give him his stupid belt. I'm going to take Stephanie home. And, of course, after he leaves, this moron has got his own plan. Because earlier on, Vince said we're going to do it my way, and Shane ends up saying we're going to do it Shane McMahon's way.
Yes.
This is why Steph took over. Art imitated reality, apparently.
X-Pac versus Triple H. Now, as I said earlier, I remembered Hunter doing a heel turn at Mania this year, but when he came out with Shane on one side and Chyna on the other to Vince's theme...
That was weird.
It was weird.
It was very weird. Michael Cole says, I can only assume Hunter has followed Chyna's footsteps and joined the corporation for the money. And there's a pause, and Lawler says, duh. So during this match, X-Pac's about to hit the Bronco Buster. Shane grabs his foot. X-Pac chases Shane, and as he's chasing Shane, Chyna clotheslines him for the DQ. They hit him with a low blow and a pedigree afterwards, but then Kane comes out. The show's almost over, and they say, oh, by the way, at Mania, Chyna turned on Kane to reunite with Hunter before Hunter turned on X-Pac to reunite with the corporation, or unite with the corporation.
Do you know, by the way, that when Vince was telling Kenny that he always had his back, or what did he say? What was
I'm forever indebted to you.
I'm forever indebted to you?
Yeah.
He didn't even make till next year.
No.
How about that?
Did you realize in storyline they're feuding in like a month?
Yeah, I know. It's weird.
So Kane comes out. He's a scary monster for a bit, and then Hunter hit him really, really hard in the head with a chair.
Yeah.
And Lawler called him a retard. Kane sat up, stalked Hunter to the back. Shane's still out there, still wearing his European title over his clothes like a geek.
Oh, he's such a geek. But it's great.
You see all these, all the fans who go by the belts and throw them over their shoulder, over their T-shirts and the sports jerseys. Shane started it.
Yeah.
He did. Like, they thought he was cool.
Yes.
But the idea was that he was a geek.
Yeah.
But they didn't get it. They were little kids.
So Shane calls out Rock, who comes out with a Smoking Skulls belt. And he cuts a promo. He admits he was not WWF champ anymore, but it took 2 stunners to beat him. Then Austin just comes charging out and they brawled. Shane gets stunnered, but that gives Rock a chance to lay Austin out. So the corporation comes out now to beat Austin up, to join it's a gang beating. They're all coming out en masse. But Hunter, never let it be said this man is stupid. Hunter says, if I just come out with all these, like 15 guys, whatever, I'm just a tool. But if I run out there just for a little bit, it'll be me and Austin and Rock in the ring, and I'll be on their level. And so he runs down the ring, his ramp as fast as he can. And for 12 seconds, it's Hunter, Austin, and Rock in there. And then there's a crowd of people.
By the way, I don't know if we really mentioned this or not. I may have already forgotten, but Rock was so over on this show as a babyface.
Yes.
Like, he wasn't when he was going up against Steve Austin, but they got him in there with Billy Gunn. Nobody gave a shit about Billy Gunn. They're chanting for The Rock. Billy Gunn makes his big comeback to deathly silence. And then he gets cut off with the Uranage, the rock bottom. The place just goes absolutely crazy. This guy's over. This Rock is a popular superstar.
He's a very charismatic and likable fella.
Yeah.
So they're all beating up Austin until Big Show comes out and he and Austin clean house.
Hunter's getting bigger every week, by the way.
Hunter's getting...
His weight gain.
Yeah.
He discovered Mega Mass 2000.
He's on a bulking phase.
Yeah, those...
So Show hits Hunter with a chokeslam that's even better than the one on Test earlier. It's holding him way over his head. And I know there's like a lot of his weight's on his shoulder and chest, but it looked so cool. Big Show is a one-of-a-kind star.
Did you know, by the way, speaking of Shamrock, that he has a son named Sean Garrett?
I did not know that.
Yeah, isn't that weird?
Like, is Garrett's middle name?
No, Sean Garrett.
Huh.
Well, I guess Garrett would be his middle name, but anyway.
Sean Garrett I know is not Ken Shamrock's son.
No. He sure ain't.
He looks nothing like him.
No.
Sorry, Sean.
No, he knows. Sean's going to be offended. He doesn't look like Ken
I
Shamrock.
can't believe you are telling me I don't look like Ken Shamrock, Craig. You'll never get into a concert in this town again.
Here's what they have in common. Sean got lazy and no longer wears glasses. That's the one physical feature they share now, a lack of eyewear.
But it's funny, he finally got his LASIK and got rid of his glasses, and now glasses are cool.
Yes. I hadn't thought of that, but that's true.
It's true.
It's absolutely true.
So, extra attitude. Austin drank some beer.
I didn't watch any of it. Let me tell you what I wrote and tell me if I was accurate.
Okay.
Austin stuns a bunch of guys.
No, actually.
Really?
The 2.
Okay, well, that's a bunch of guys.
That's more than one.
He drank a lot of beer. He invited Rock to come share a beer. Through the art of pantomime, they communicated to the crowd there would be no stunners or rock bottoms in this beer exchange.
Yeah, I believed him.
But Rock is a liar. So Rock took his beer, but then threw a punch at Austin. And
This is every extra attitude ever.
Absolutely.
Austin ducked and stunned him. So then Shane's out. Oh, no. Rock's getting to his feet. Takes him a while. And as he's getting to his feet, Big Show's been in the corner the whole time.
Yep.
And Austin goes over and tells him what to do. So Show gets in position for the choke slam. But they're waiting, and they're waiting, and they're waiting. And Rock turns around, and Austin zips in front of Show and cuts him off, hits a stunner instead. Austin has a big laugh. Oh, what a rib. And then he throws Shane inside so Show can choke slam Shane, and that's that. Mm-hmm. Actually, this is notable. This actually is. Even though it all came off the air, you could see what their plan was, and obviously plans changed, but their plan was, it's just Hogan and Andre all over again. The champion and the Giant will be friends, then the Giant will turn on him, and we will do the Giant and the champion at Mania next year.
Man, oh man.
It didn't work out that way, but you can see they had a plan.
Didn't. Sure didn't. I didn't watch Extra Attitude. I'd watched too much wrestling, but I will say if I had watched it, I would have enjoyed it because it never gets old.
No.
The part
you could do it this could be the main event of every Raw,
yes.
And the hour would grow on a weekly basis.
The best part is where Rock just wants to make sure there will be no violence. He wants Steve Austin at his word to say no fists, just a beer. And Austin agrees, and we all know Austin's lying, but Austin still gives Rock a chance first.
Yes.
And Rock is a dick. And so he starts it and Austin finishes it.
Yeah.
It's perfect.
It is perfect.
Now,
This is why the Attitude Era was so incredible.
because of those two men.
Rock, Austin, and Vince McMahon.
Yeah. Now, before we get into the music here, I do want to note that the show ends and immediately comes up with a preview for next week's show. Just so you all know, you have 7 days now to brace yourself. Next week's show is Where to Stephanie.
Oh, yippee.
Yes, you have that to look forward to. Bryan, my music, please.
Thank you.
He's going to make me ask now.
Yes.
The finishes on this show were pin via backslide. We didn't even mention that in the women's match. Sable hit a belt shot, and Tori hit a backslide for the win.
Wow.
Clean pin. Pin after run-in and frying pan shot in a hardcore match. Clean pin and then clean submission. 2 clean finishes on a row on Raw in 99, and we never happen again. Pin after belt shot, pin after guitar shot, and DQ due to interference.
Man. An amazing night of
It
action.
really was.